as foreigners make you a minority. Another election, another bust. Go vote for that liar, it's a must. We were given the greatest gift of all, decided to give it up and watch the fall. Yeah, it's just a clown world. We're living in a clown world. Join us in the clown world. It's easy to see that the joke's on you and the joke's on me.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Thursday, July 30th, 2026. Welcome into your home for political play-by-play, the Owen Report, with you for the next 3 hours at least. In fact, we've done a bunch of 3-hour plus broadcasts in a row. We'll see if we can keep the streak going. You know, I have a busy news desk. Today. And there's going to be things we cover today that you're just not going to see anywhere else in the media. And that's kind of the standard that we try to keep here. But I want to do something before I even do my normal intro. I want to do something before I tell you all the news that's coming up, because this isn't in my stack and I'll forget. I'll forget if I don't do this right now. You know, and let me kind of just frame this up a little bit before I make my point. It's a beautiful day here in Austin, Texas. Weather's like perfect. 90 and sunny. Had a great morning. Great workout. Went to the pool. Met some new people today too. Met some new fans of the show. Just awesome people. You know, just the exact type of people you want to meet at the right time even. Just amazing. Just having a great day. And, you know, I start the news aggregation, the final process for the show about 1 o'clock here in studio. And it's just so draining, man. It's so depressing. The separation between Washington, D.C. and our politics and our people. American people are still good people. They're still hardworking, good people. And really, they're more awake and aware than they've ever been. But that's not even really my point. That's just kind of the nature of politics and news, I suppose. But my point is actually, this is what kind of hit me. And I even want to make sure that I phrase this right, because it ended up coming up on X with somebody I was talking to today. I want to see if I can find this. Well, I don't want to spend too much time searching for this, because I just remembered it before we went live, and I wanted to address this before we get to the news. There seems to be a very soulless nature of current MAGA. It's very soulless. And I am debasing it down to that. Because we can look at the different actual issues and policies and who's promoting what, or who's selling out to what, or who's pushing what, simping for what, all the different issues, the flock cameras, the surveillance state, the Ukraine war, the Iran war, all the different stuff. All the different stuff that we're seeing, this new MAGA coalition, and, oh, they're sellouts, or they're this, or they're that, there's all this other stuff. And it really hit me today that no, MAGA is just soulless. There's no soul there. And the reason it really hit me today is because, like I said, I met a couple people today, and it's like, these are the same people I was meeting in 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, the original MAGA people, when it actually cost you something to be MAGA, when it was actually anti-establishment to be MAGA. You know, all the good things that MAGA was in its origins, the things that it has now abandoned. It's a soulless movement. And all the people that are pushing the MAGA propaganda and trying to keep their audiences under the delusion that MAGA is winning, it hit me that these are soulless people. The whole thing is just soulless now. And when I meet the new people like I meet today, and they're like, hey man, it's the same stuff they used to say 2015, 2016, 2017. Hey, thank you. Appreciate your work. Nobody tells it like you. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for not selling out. All of the stuff, all the things that you appreciate, that I appreciate. And I'm like, this is the human soul right here. This is what MAGA used to be. There was a soul to it. There was a spirit to it. All of that is gone. And all the people that are still close to their souls, still close to their spirit, all those people, they have abandoned MAGA. They're out. They want nothing to do with whatever this movement is now. They want nothing to do with the politics of MAGA now. It's soulless. It's unrecognizable. And I'll reiterate this again for the audience so that you know. We are way bigger than we even realize. I am telling you this right now. We are so much bigger than we realize. And it feels good now because I'm starting to feel it. I'm starting to feel that there is a new political movement forming. It's just starting to get into the primordial ooze here. And I can see it just in the response that I get, the recognition that I get. And I'm a small guy. I'm not that big. I don't have 1 million followers on X or on YouTube. We'd like to get there one day, but that's not the reality of the situation. And if this is the response that I'm getting, little old me in Austin, Texas, I'm telling you folks, it is beginning. The anti-MAGA kind of like populist left, populist right, anti-establishment, disenfranchised by MAGA, betrayed by Trump. This is all starting to form and morph into something. Unfortunately, I think that there's nothing really political that we can look at for 2026 and say, okay, there's going to be a representation here. There's going to be some results here. No, maybe by 2028, though. I think by 2028, we'll get there. It's just a matter of what is it going to look like when we get there. But I'm telling you guys, and I'll reiterate this one too. You are not hearing what's really going on in Washington, D.C. Guys, I'm telling you, a lot of the people that you see that are just they're kind of ingrained in the establishment. They're still in the Trump circles. They work in D.C. They're in the media. They work in politics. They know the environment. They know what they have to do to survive. They know what they have to do to make it to the next election cycle, make it to the next session of Congress, make it to the next administration. And so they do what they have to do. I'm telling you guys, they think like us. They talk like us. They're sick of this administration. They're sick of Donald Trump. They're not going to say anything publicly. They really can't say anything publicly. It costs too much now, which is so ironic, by the way, that we went from 10 years, it cost you to support Trump, and now it costs you to go against Trump. It's kind of a story in that too. But that's what I wanted to open the show with today, because it's very important that you know that. It's very important because you're going to get bullied by the MAGA cult. You're going to get bullied by the DC establishment elites. No, they are not in control. They are less popular than they realize, than we realize. I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you, believe me, we are way bigger than them. The people that actually care about this country and are frustrated with the lack of results, no matter who is president, the people that are beyond frustrated with this administration, we are the majority. And I've got more poll numbers today, and I guess this is when I'll get into the kind of normal intro. I've got all the poll numbers that indicate this. And things are trending really bad for Republicans right now. They're trending bad for Republicans in all of the states and all of the metrics that matter right now. And so we'll look at some of these poll numbers, and this will tie into the economic news that I have today, some significant economic news, some significant foreign policy, geopolitics news. We're going to get into that as well. So that's kind of the heavy stuff. That's kind of the heavy stuff that we're going to be leaning on for most of the show today. We do have there's some grumblings, some developments with the Tyler Robinson case. I can now confirm, and we have the full video again today, but we can now confirm that the video that we've all now seen on X that we played yesterday, that is the video that they showed in the courtroom. The only discrepancy is that they're wondering if it wasn't maybe zoomed in more. That's the only discrepancy with the video that we're seeing versus the video they saw in the courtroom, is at least the people that are, the people that weren't saying it was, 4K proves that Tyler did it. They're saying, no, this is the exact video, except whatever Candace put out might have zoomed in a little bit. But that was the video. So we're going to review something about that. I'm going to review something from that day that is not getting enough attention, and then we'll look at some of the anomalies. I'm not too interested in this confession that the transgender boyfriend girlfriend is giving. I don't know why people are trusting that. I don't trust that. It's actually extremely suspicious to me that either maybe this person knows more than they're telling us, and this is a cover up on their part, or they're just playing their role in this investigation now to stay out of trouble. But I don't know why there's this trust for that testimony. And then, I don't even know what to think about the autopsy that they put out. I really don't. Everybody's got a different opinion on the autopsy. Everybody wants to claim the autopsy proves their point. So I don't really want to get too invested into that. But we do have some of that in the stack today as well. And then we just got some random here and there and slop is what we got that we'll conclude with today. So all of that and more coming up on today's Owen Report. Brought to you by Cove Pure Water Filtration Systems, the official water filtration of the Owen Report. Now, I've been a water snob for a long time. Been a water snob for almost 2 decades now. And, my parents were kind of water snobs too. They always had filtered water in the house. And so I'm thankful for that. You need to be a water snob. You need to be filtering your water. By now, you probably know about all the toxic chemicals, forever chemicals, hell, the stuff they add to the water intentionally, like fluoride. You don't want to drink it, period. You want to drink filtered water. You want to drink clean water. That's what you want. That's what the Cove Pure delivers. Now, when you investigate this stuff as a water snob, you learn about all the different filtration systems and all the different, things that are good in the water, bad in the water. And reverse osmosis, probably the best water filtration process. The problem with reverse osmosis is that it dealkalizes the water. And so when you're drinking it, you're not getting the alkalized water. What the Cove Pure system does is it realkalizes the water. So it does the reverse osmosis purity and it realkalizes the water. That's as good as it gets. Plus, this thing is like right out of the future. It looks like a spaceship sitting on my counter. And the touchscreen interface, I can control the temperature of my water. I can control how much water I want. It has a refillable pitcher. It refills itself, by the way. You just take it off the stand, pour a glass of water, put it back on the stand. It refills itself. This thing is right out of the future. And for America's 250th birthday, our friends at Cove Pure are offering this system for $250 off at covepure.com/Owen in celebration of America's birthday. $250 off the water filtration system right now for this listening audience at covepure.com/Owen.
On the cutting edge of news and analysis, the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, I kind of already did my opening monologue with the opening segment, so I don't want to take too much more time here before we get to the news. But I wasn't looking at the chat. I got the chat open right now. I'll kind of monitor it for a minute as I'm reiterating my point about MAGA being soulless now. And I think it really explains everything. I mean, you sit here and you say, how can this be? Right? How can we look at people that were once MAGA and now they're out shilling the Ukraine war? How can we look at people that were once MAGA and they're out shilling the surveillance state? How can we look at all these people that claim to be American patriots and they push foreign interest propaganda? It's soulless. It's soulless. They've sold their soul, or they're just soulless entities. There's no other way to describe it. And I do think there's a relation. I don't want to stretch this too much longer. But I do think there is a relation to perhaps why some conservatives, establishment, right-wing people can't really enjoy art, or they'll make everything so political that they can't enjoy beauty anymore. And we kind of see that all the time. And I know it's even harder now with the left-wing propaganda and everything else everywhere. So it kind of hardens you to be more open-minded to that. But I don't know, guys. I feel like it's just the whole politics, the whole DC, the whole MAGA thing. It's so soulless now. And that's why we're so out of touch with it. That's why it feels so unreachable, unrecognizable. We want nothing to do with it. This is a soulless thing. It's just totally soulless now. Whether they sold their soul or whether they never had the soul, it's just a totally soulless movement. All right, but let me just stop it right there and actually get to the news. Now this is the economic news to open the day. U.S. economic growth slows unexpectedly in second quarter. Commerce Department releases advanced GDP estimate for the second quarter of 2026, and that number was 1.5%. They were hoping to get to 2.1. They got to 1.5. Now, you can get into the economic coverage and debates about, what's causing this, good, bad, all the stuff. I just remember President Trump campaigning about how the GDP, he was going to tariff the GDP up to 10%. We would never have another quarter under 3%. And with the tariffs, we could be approaching 10% GDP growth. And we're not even close. Not even close. And I don't know. I don't know what the future entails right now. I don't know what the future entails because, China's in the media today basically denying that they're involved with the Iran war and helping Iran. I don't believe them. I think they're lying. I think they absolutely are involved. But it just shows that whatever relationship Trump had with Xi Jinping, or if they were ever on good terms, it looks like that's soured. It does not look like Trump-Xi Jinping relations are very good. Now, Xi Jinping is supposed to be coming to the White House in September. Also, Netanyahu will be back for the 9th time. But that's a pretty significant thing. And I'm not anticipating that Xi Jinping cancels the trip, but if that happens, I think that would be a major indicator that this, whatever Trump's economic policy is with China, it has failed miserably. And maybe he took a ding with the Supreme Court decision. But regardless, I don't think China really cares much for showing Trump any respect. I mean, they'll do what they need to do. They'll do the diplomatic, professionalism. But to me, when China's out here, we're not helping Iran, even though Trump knows they are. That to me is China saying, hey, F you. We don't care. F you. You guys lie. You lie to us. You lie to everybody. So yeah, we lie too now. How do you like that? So I just remember, hey, this was the golden age. We'd never have a quarter under 3%. With the tariffs, we could get up to 10%. And there is no economic boom. There is no economic bounce back. It's the same trajectory it's been on since Trump left the White House in 2020. And this is obviously driving negative poll numbers. 3/4 of Americans think Trump isn't focusing on top U.S. issues. Well, no kidding, because he's not. We all know what Trump is focused on. It's never been more obvious. And it's so bad, and they kind of did this to themselves by saying it would be over in a day. How views on Trump's handling of Iran have shifted, according to a new AP NORC poll. So it's all the stuff we've already seen. If you want to look at the numbers, here they are. 64% of U.S. adults don't support the war anymore. 68% independents, 87% Democrats, 37% Republicans. But the vast majority, 2/3 of the country, do not support this war. 2/3 of America do not support this war. And the only reason you see the numbers where they're at and you see the headlines about, oh, people's views have shifted. Well, there still used to be some faith in Trump. There still used to be some trust in Trump. And so when he was coming out and he said, okay, Operation Midnight Hammer, that's it, wipe our hands of the situation, people believed that. They said, okay, Trump did it. He took care of the nuclear threat. We can move on now. All right. People believed that. So they were okay with that. Then came Operation Epic Fury. It's like, okay, it'll take a couple days. It'll take a couple weeks. It'll take a couple months. Now, well, what are we doing here? Now it looks like it was worse than when it started. Much worse than when it started. And so all of a sudden people are shifting their views because they no longer trust Trump. Maybe they supported the war, maybe they didn't support the war, but there was at least some level of trust or faith in Trump that whatever he's going to do here, it's going to be done fast, and after the situation is going to be better. Well, it hasn't been fast. The situation is ongoing, and the situation is terrible, and it's worse than it was when it started. So yes, people have shifted their views because they realized they were lied to about the war. Now, on independence, from interactive polls, and they just show a bunch of different fresh polling here with Trump's approval rating on independence. With independence, just looking at these 6 different polls, and let's say CNN is the farthest left, Trump is minus 52 with independents. And let's say Emerson is the farthest right. He's minus 37 with independents. And on average, Trump's approval rating with independents is 24%, which is minus 46 since he was elected. Now, that's just a result of broken promises. But perhaps, what does a presidential approval poll really represent? Everyone seems to get pissed at the president no matter who it is. So maybe Trump's numbers are worse than some of his predecessors at this point. But what does it really matter? He's not up for re-election. Well, these can be a reflection of the midterms. And I don't really know if the Democrats... I don't really look at the Democrats' situation and say, wow, there's real excitement there. I don't really see that. There is some excitement when it comes to the Democrat socialists, but I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure if that moves much, honestly. I don't know. You talk about Democrat socialists. Well, were they ever voting Republican anyway? So I don't think Democrat socialist excitement to go vote really changes much. But I don't really see any excitement from the Democrats. I don't really see any excitement from the left other than the Democrat socialists, but I don't really know if that moves anything. So it's not like the Democrats are sitting here like, hey, look at all of our momentum. But I think the biggest factor of the upcoming midterms, and I'm going to show these new poll numbers here for the midterms. And by the way, I have to tell you, I'm starting to get into my election mode. I was looking at some of these polls. We're going to get very close here. We might do the first one in August, but I think I'm going to do a real deep dive on midterm election data and start to look at my analysis and my numbers. And I got to say, I'm actually really excited. You know, I've been at the network. I've been in a network for 10 years for the last, 3 presidential election cycles and all the midterms. So now that I'm on my own, I can kind of do it my own way, and I can kind of guide you guys through my process of how I crunch my numbers and end up with my own data. And I appreciate the compliments when I do my election night coverage, and people admit it's like, wow, you do some of the best actual election coverage by the numbers. So I'm starting to actually get into that excitement and starting to crunch these numbers. Now, here's what I think is going to be the biggest impact on the midterms. And I do believe it is Trump. I think that Trump and his negative approval, I think that Trump and his complete letdown, if we're being kind, when it comes to the campaign promises, when it comes to results, I think that's going to be the biggest factor. So I don't know if the Democrats are really moving mountains here, but it's almost like all the Democrats really have to do to win is show up. As long as Democrats show up, I think that they take the House and the Senate, maybe. I do. It's going to be so narrow. Whereas I think Republicans just aren't going to sit this one out. I think they are. And some Republicans are going to go out and vote for Democrats out of spite. They're so ticked off at Trump, they're going to go out and vote for Democrats just to spite Trump. Now, I don't know if that's a significant number. I don't know if that's more than maybe a 1% number, maybe 1, maybe 2 at most. So I don't know how much that changes, but that's going to be the Republicans' problem. And, their belief is that, hey, we're suffering because Trump isn't on the ballot. So let's put Trump on the campaign trail, and that will try to that can make up some of this ground. I don't think so. I don't think it's helping anything. I think it draws some attention to the candidates you want, but I don't think it hits. I don't think people say, Trump endorsed this guy. I like him now. I mean, there's going to be some people. These people are already voting Republican. It's kind of like the same thing with the Democrat socialists. It's like that doesn't really move the needle. These people always voted Democrat. Anybody that's going to go out and vote the way Trump tells them, they were always going to vote Republican anyway. So I don't really see any movement here. I think the big issue for the midterms is going to be Republicans aren't going to show up. I think they're going to sit the midterms out or do a spite vote and go for Democrats because of what an absolute abysmal and embarrassing display the Trump administration has been. Now, when I look at these approval ratings by state, let's look at the ones that actually matter here. And this is why I'm actually starting to look at the Senate and saying, okay, this is getting concerning. So, so green is where Trump is approval rating is at. Red is the disapproval. So, okay, you get that. You go down here. All right, Texas. I'd say these numbers are good for Paxton. I think Paxton is racking up wins right now. And Tallarico, he just came out for, Tallarico is campaigning for trans kids. So I think Texas is safe. I was concerned about Texas. I think Texas is going to be safe. I think Paxton is going to keep that seat. I think that's going to be okay. Now, this number in Ohio should be extremely concerning if you're the Republican Party. It's a 49-49 split. And that means it's trending the wrong direction. And Vivek's campaign is starting to sputter badly. And I think Vivek was, that's the kind of candidate. We saw the energy he was able to generate when he was running for president. He's not been able to re-encapsulate that or recreate that in Ohio. But he's still it's like he still has that potential But he's going the wrong way on the issues that matter right now, data centers, foreign policy. And then he was at an event, it was either this week or last week, and where normally he would be getting a very nice reception, he was booed. So I look at these numbers in Ohio. I look at Vivek's campaign kind of sputtering, and that's concerning. I will tell you, and this is trending the wrong direction right here. Iowa, trending the wrong direction for Republicans. Not good. Pennsylvania trending the wrong direction. Now that's not going to be as consequential, but it is interesting as a swing state. Georgia. These numbers in Georgia are bad, guys. Bad. That's not good. North Carolina, 52% disapprove of Trump in North Carolina. Again, that's a state the Republicans need. Michigan, they're getting crushed. 53% disapproval in Michigan. You're getting crushed. Wisconsin, 54% disapproval. You're getting crushed. These are the states that matter. These are the states that the Senate race is going to come down to who controls the Senate in. And these numbers are bad and trending worse. Now, I've got a couple other updates in these races that we'll get to. Minnesota, you never really counted on that one to go red anyway, so you probably don't think too much about that. But those other states, not good, guys. I'm telling you. The Republicans need Ohio. They probably need Iowa, but maybe not. Georgia's looking like a lost cause. North Carolina was one they probably needed, not looking good. And Michigan is looking like a disaster. Now, like I said, I'm probably going to get deeper into election analysis. I just had this itch I wanted to scratch today as all these new numbers are coming out. But I'm probably sometime in August going to do my first big deep dive into all this different election data and start putting a picture together of how I think the midterms are going to go. Because I guess at this point, the max for both parties is 52 in the Senate. But that could change with some of this new data. Now, okay, the foreign policy is an issue. How much is that going to affect how people vote? Maybe younger generations. But what about the economy? Folks, this is a disaster. Mortgage rates average 6.66%. Now, maybe you think about the numerology of that, but we'll just not do that for now. Folks, this is unreal. These numbers are unreal. And you talk about a housing market crash. You know who wins? The banks always win. If you own a home right now, there are markets where you might still feel good about that. There are certain markets where you might feel good and your property value is going up. Of course, there are some markets where the exact opposite is happening. And then there are some markets where they're kind of clinging to, hey, we're still where we're at, but eventually they're going to crash. Like Florida is one example of that. Florida's still way inflated. They're about to crash. Florida's probably going to experience what Texas just went through very soon, which was massive boom into Texas. Massive boom for about 10 years, say from maybe 2012 to 2022. And this sent housing prices through the roof. And then that kind of cooled off. And then the interest rates went up. And so now you can't even sell a house. And a lot of people are in the negative equity now because it's so bad. But the banks always make that up. And the reason why the price of the sale goes down is because the buyer is looking at their bottom line for a mortgage. And instead of paying 3% interest rate and having a $2,000, $3,000 mortgage, they still need to have a $2,000, $3,000 mortgage, but now it's at 6.6%. And so now the price of that house is dipping $50,000 from listing. So this thing is all about to crash. I mean, this is inevitably all going to crash. And if you've tried to buy a house lately and you look at these interest rates, And you're like, oh my gosh, this is such a bad deal. This is such a disastrous financial decision. 6.6%. I can't do that. And they say, well, you can just refinance next year. You can just refinance and it'll be fine. Just refinance. And that's what you hear. You've probably heard that. Well, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look like that is happening anytime soon. You're going on to year 5 of you're still above 3.5%. And the majority of the last 3 years, you've been above 4%. And now you're at 6%. Okay. Now, what is the response to this? What is the response? The response is that young people are becoming socialists. The response is that there is a Democrat socialist movement that is about to make serious headway in the 2026 midterm. So naturally, the right wing, Republicans, conservatives, free market capitalists, they warn about communism and they want to stop the communists from getting into power. And at the risk of beating a dead horse here, hey, none of us are communists, but both parties are also communists. You know what I mean? So it's this weird thing that we have to deal with in American politics where you have to debate things or argue things in arenas that are kind of totally fake. It's like, oh, we're fighting communists. Dude, your government is communist. The only thing you could really argument that you could make that the government's not communist is that they don't have the military, pointing guns at your head every day. But they do point cameras at you every day. So, I mean, we're not that authoritarian yet. But no, both parties are socialists. Oh, but the right is fighting against communists. The right is fighting against socialists. And so I see this story pop up. And these are young conservatives, young Republicans writing this stuff. It's kind of a new production, The Conservator. Young Americans don't need socialism. They need financial freedom. So I'm looking at this story, and they're talking about this bill, the Young American Family Act. Under this proposal, married couples under the age of 35 with at least one child would pay 0 federal income tax. That sounds great. Paying 0 federal income tax sounds great. Can we stop just attaching it to all of this stuff? Can you just cut the damn taxes? It's like, I get it. Whatever, we're promoting the family, we're promoting having children. If we think, okay, people are losing faith in the institution of marriage, I think there's other issues that go with that. But all right, people aren't getting married, they aren't having kids. There's plenty of issues that go along with that. Oh, okay, let's give them a tax break. Can we just give every American a tax break, please? Can we just start abolishing taxes? And you go through this every single election cycle where you have all these politicians talking about cutting taxes, and they never do it. Vivek is trying to rejuvenate his campaign right now, saying he's going to cut taxes. He said income tax or property tax. I can't remember. And so Vivek is trying to re-energize his campaign with these tax cut proposals. They never do it. It's the same thing every election cycle. They always use that proposal to try to get you to go out and vote Republicans, and they never do it. The American Family Act would mark significant investment in low and moderate income families. Just cut the damn taxes. It's not even an investment. Let people keep their own money. Yeah, here was the Vivek story. Ramaswamy pitches 0 income tax, job growth in Ohio's governor's race. He's pushing the data centers. He's on the pro-Israel foreign lobby angle. So that's what's going to cost him. And he can try to save his campaign by talking about cutting taxes, but nobody believes that anymore. It's the boy that cried wolf. We've been hearing about Republicans cutting taxes forever. I'm paying more. I feel like I'm paying more in taxes than I ever have. In fact, this is actually, honestly, in fact, I'll open up the chat. Hey, chat, can we try to stay on point this time? Last time I said I was going to look at the chat. You guys were all over the map. So try to stay on point with this. This is just my honest experience, and I'm just curious if other people agree. The only time I ever saw, and I don't know, I guess you could argue maybe I don't even have enough experience. You know, when I was a young guy, I wasn't making much money, so I wasn't getting taxed much. The only time I could tell you I've ever seen a significant change in taxes was 2017 and 2018, I feel like. And maybe 2019 too, before COVID. But I do remember it was like the second or third year after Trump got in, there was certainly a tax cut. You could see it. I mean, you could see it on your paycheck. If you have a salary job or whatever it is, you could see that you were paying less. I mean, you could look at your before the tax cuts, you could look at your paycheck, and after the tax cuts, you could look at your paycheck. And you were getting more money. There was a tax cut in the first Trump administration. And then I also remember there was a period of 2 or 3 years where your tax returns were significantly higher. So there was like a 2 to 3 year period where Trump's economic policy actually resulted in less taxes. And if you remember, Trump did a giant presentation where he got out in front of the media and he had these stacks of regulatory rules, policies, and papers. And he went up there and he started cutting the red tape. And he was like, we're getting rid of all this regulation. I mean, it was like millions of pages of regulation and tax code. That worked. That actually worked. And I think most people would agree, and I'm seeing it in the chat, most people agree with this. That's when we actually had the booming economy. That's what led to that economic resurgence that I think most people experienced, and then they killed it with COVID. And then it all died in 2020 with COVID. So there is proof of success. Whatever Trump did the first administration to achieve that success, he's obviously not doing this administration because nothing is better economically. But that is the only time in my life where I ever remember there being a significant difference when it comes to paying taxes. And that was the first Trump administration. And guess what? It did great for the economy. It did great for the economy. And then they just crushed everything with COVID, unfortunately. And we have not come back. That was permanent damage. Back to the elections here briefly. So I told you about the radical leftist in the governor race in Wisconsin. Her story is even crazier, guys. I forgot her name. Look at this. This is the Associated Press release on this story today. Mandela Barnes drops out of Democrat primary for Wisconsin governor. Okay, so here's the whole press release here. They don't even mention the lady's name, who is now the lone candidate. Guys, journalism in this country is just gone. It's just, I'm sorry, it's just gone. If I was the editor of the Associated Press, this is the Associated Press. How do you have your team putting out a press release about the Democrat governor primary and you don't even have the woman's name in the press release that is the last remaining candidate? Do they just not teach these kids anything in school anymore? I mean, guys, this is literally journalism 101. And they don't even have her name. I'm sorry. I'm just, you know how I tick. It's like this stuff just drives me nuts. So, okay, Barnes is out. So I think her name is Hong or something. So she's now running solo. Hardcore socialist. I mean, crazy. Like, she's crazy. I mean, like what the hell is going on in Wisconsin? And Barnes was like, not even that crazy, kind of just normal dude, a Democrat, but holy smokes. Holy smokes. What is going on in Wisconsin? Well, by the way, I think you're going to see more out of Madison this weekend. I think you're going to see more out of Madison this weekend and their Chop Chaz, whatever they got going on. Yeah, you're going to see and hear definitely more about that this weekend, maybe as soon as tomorrow. Okay, what is going on in Wisconsin? Seriously, what is going on in Wisconsin, guys? This woman is like squad member radical. And you could argue, I mean, you look at the squad, you look at the elements of the DSA and the radical leftists. I don't really know if you can point to a race and say they won at a state level. I don't think you can really do that. You can definitely look at some mayors. You can definitely look at some House candidates. But I don't think you've ever really seen a DSA radical leftist win at a state level. The closest thing, maybe Tim Walz in Minnesota, but he tries to pander to centrists and white collar guys. So I don't really think that counts. If this radical leftists, Hong, whatever her name is, if this DSA squad leftist wins a governor's race, folks, this is a significant development. You could argue this is the first time that a radical left DSA socialist has won a statewide election. So they're not winning districts in the House. They're not winning mayors races. Now they're winning statewide races. And it looks like this is going to translate to a victory in a governor's race in Wisconsin. I don't know if I would say Al-Sayed is a radical Democrat socialist. That'll be how he's presented, but he's probably going to win at a statewide race. Can you imagine telling us this in 2024 or Trump gets inaugurated in January of 2025? I mean, emotions were running high. You should have been in Washington, D.C. for the inauguration. I mean, guys, emotions were running high. People were loving it. Imagine telling us at Trump's inauguration that, hey, things are going to go so bad, socialists are going to start winning statewide elections. Hey, things are going to go so bad that right before the midterms, you're going to be stuck in multiple wars. The economy is going to be not good, and Democrat socialists are going to start winning. In 2 years after Trump's inauguration, that's going to be your reality. Imagine trying to tell somebody that at Trump's inauguration in January of 2025. Or better yet, what if you asked somebody? What if you asked somebody and you said, hey, okay, Trump supporter, feeling good, riding high, won the House, won the Senate, won the White House. We've got the mandate. We've got the agenda. We've got the attitude. We've got the coalition. And then you asked, hey, if we get to the midterms and your GDP growth is 1.5%, you're still in a war in Ukraine, you're in a new war with Iran, and Democrat socialists are winning statewide elections, would you say that's winning? Would you say that's proof that Trump is winning? Of course, they would all admit that would be a total defeat. That would never happen under Trump. Oh, GDP growth is going to be 5-6% under Trump. Trump's the no new wars. We're going to be out of Ukraine. We're going to be out of the Middle East. It's going to be great. We're going to crush the socialists. We're going to crush the left. This is the end of the left. And now it's all the exact opposites. And if you would have said that to a Trump supporter in 2025, they would have laughed you out of the room. It would have been impossible. And now that is our reality. Now, I guess they are calling on Elon Musk to try to save the midterms. Musk revives super PAC, pledges major push to boost GOP turnout in midterms. At an individual level, Musk donated more money to Trump than anybody else in 2024. Now, if you look at a lobby angle, the Israeli lobby obviously donated more. But Marian Adelson, she was actually number 3. It was Musk. I forget number 2. I'm sorry. And then Adelson was number 3. These were the last time I looked at the numbers. So Adelson obviously got everything she wanted. Musk did not. And I think that's why Musk had the original falling out with Trump. And I think that's why Musk kind of left the White House with a black eye and, the big bomb of Trump's in the Epstein files. I think Musk felt betrayed, and he said, "Hey, why are you giving her everything she wants? I gave you more money. I was on the campaign with you. I was doing voter drives. I abandoned my entire multi-billion-dollar businesses. I lost money, I got crushed on business because of this. Musk is probably up there making the arguments to Trump. It's like, hey, I spent billions on this election when you look at the value. And you're not doing what I want, you're doing what she wants. And so I think that's kind of what led to the fallout. But for Musk, I think that he also learned a lesson. And maybe he and Trump learned the same lesson, and then they rekindled their relationship, their friendship over the lesson. But I think Musk learned the lesson, which is, money talks, and you can get access and you can get influence with money, but at the end of the day, you kind of have to just do what's best for you. Because at the end of the day, that's what everyone else is doing. Now, obviously, the Republicans have called Musk and said, hey, we're desperate. We're getting crushed. I know maybe you're upset with some things, but we don't want the Democrats, right? Can you just help us beat the Democrats? And I think Musk has boiled this down to, I've got all these government contracts, a lot of my tech, a lot of my industry, production, all of this. We have a lot of government contracts. I want to keep that going. And so at the very least, maybe Trump and him kind of settled on, all right, Elon, you're really not going to get much, but we'll make sure that you can maintain these government contracts. And if there's ever a competitive contract, we'll look at you, whatever, how it goes. So I think that's kind of where Musk has landed. And he's saying, all right, I'll help you guys out in the midterms, but hey, I'm still getting government contracts. My tech is still going to be used for military and everything else, right? We good? Okay. Return on investment? Yes? Okay. I don't think Musk, I'm not even sure how interested Musk really is in politics anymore. Maybe he'll get interested again for the next presidential election. I think Musk is indifferent on politics right now. I think he's focusing on his businesses. I think Musk is indifferent on X right now too, for the same reasons. I think Musk will reemerge as a true force probably in 2028. But for now, I think he's on the sideline and he says, all right, I'll throw some money your way. I want a return on investment. Here's the mistake that the Republicans are making. And maybe Musk doesn't care if he spends $100 million in the midterms, right? He's got enough money. He doesn't care. But if the Republicans think that throwing money at this issue is going to save the midterms, then they are tremendously mismeasuring what is going to determine the midterms. The midterms is about perception, not influence. And you can't buy perception. Now, you can try to influence perception by having your friend Larry Ellison buy TikTok, having your friend Larry Ellison buy Paramount, inserting your girl at CBS to control the news media as much as you can. So you can try to influence perception, but Americans are a little more intuitive now, and they understand not to trust mainstream media now. So it's even harder to influence perception. The midterms are all about perception. And the perception of Donald Trump and Republicans is not good. And if you want to be specific, generally speaking, the perception of Donald Trump and Republicans is that they got in power to enrich themselves and they only work for the Israeli lobby. That is the perception of Republicans and Trump. That is why people are going to go out and vote for Democrats. So you can run as much influence as you want. You can buy as many ads. You can buy as many digital influencers, X users, all these people that we see just shilling propaganda for the administration. You can spend as much money as you want on influence. Perception is all that matters in this midterms. And the perception of the Republicans and Donald Trump is very bad, as you can see by the polls. Now, I've got a couple other polls here. And I guess we'll finish it off with this. These are the races that are going to determine the Senate. And it doesn't look good. Georgia has the Democrats up by 13 points. This is a Fox News poll. These are Fox News polls. They have Ossoff up 13 points in Georgia. They have Cooper up 9 points in North Carolina. Folks, the North Carolina race, I didn't think it would be that bad. I mean, I assumed it would be a toss-up, but I didn't think it would be that bad. If the Republicans lose North Carolina, you understand what an absolute and complete rejection of the new GOP leadership that is. Whatley, who came into the GOP and reformed it and helped get Trump elected and redirected funding and definitely did a better job than the prior leadership. And then off of that momentum, off of that success, he's able to get into North Carolina politics. And if Cooper comes in here and defeats Whatley, it's like total repudiation of the entire GOP leadership from Trump to Whatley. And right now, Cooper's up 9 points, according to a Fox News poll. They have Brown up 8 points in Ohio. And you know me, I think Ohio is kind of going to be the determining state. If Republicans win Ohio, I think they can maintain the Senate. If they lose Ohio, no chance. They're down 4 points in Iowa. Now, Maine is where they're probably going to remain because Susan Collins is the incumbent. Plattner, who might have been able to defeat her, he's dropped out. They don't even have a candidate. They got some blob up. Guys, there is a Democrat candidate. You almost feel bad, honestly. It's like, I'm not even trying to make fun of this person, because I think they're mentally retarded. But I mean, Maine is putting up like transgender blobs as their candidates. So I think the Republicans will probably maintain Maine. But it looks like they're going to lose Georgia, North Carolina, Ohio, and Iowa. And that means the Democrats will take the Senate. That's what that means, that the Democrats will take the Senate. All right, when we come back, I've got some news from Trump. He's addressing the issue of all the foreigners coming here and getting the CDL licenses and then getting in massive fatal car crashes. There have been dozens of these. It's a total disaster. So Trump was addressing this at the White House earlier today. We'll hear from Trump. We'll look at the foreign policy, geopolitics news, a lot of that in the stack today. All of that coming up next on the Owen Report.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
Navigating between the sane and insane. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, so we have covered this story a few times. There have been so many of these. We've seen the videos, unfortunately, as well. You have all these foreigners coming here, and they, of course, go to Democrat states. California is the main offender, and they're able to get CDLs, and they clearly don't know how to drive these semi-trucks, and we've seen so many fatal crashes because of this. And it's not even, you watch the videos, it'd be one thing if maybe it was okay, you could understand there's just an error here, mistakes happen on the road, accidents, as they say, happen. These are like total incompetence. This isn't accidents happen. This is pure incompetence, pure you never belonged behind the wheel of the truck. So Trump is addressing this today. Now, my issue, I don't mean to get ahead of the clip, but I guess I've already started. My issue is that the same approach that Republicans and conservatives are taking to this issue is the same approach they take to every issue, and that's why nothing ever happens. That's why nothing ever changes, because they take the same failing approach. But Trump was addressing this earlier today at the White House.
For many years, American highways and roadways have been terrorized by unqualified illegal aliens dangerously driving big rigs like that. You got to know something to drive. Wow, that sucker is a big one. That's big stuff. But they're you have to have a knowledge. You have to have a talent for it, and these people don't have that. They're driving big rigs, semi-trucks, and tractor trailers, all because radical left maniacs at the state level have issued them commercial driver's licenses, even though they're not entitled to have them. They don't speak the language for the most part. Many of these illegal aliens don't even come close. They don't want to learn the language. They don't care about the language, and they don't speak it. They don't speak English. They cannot read basic road signs. In many cases, they've engaged in reckless driving that has caused many, many preventable deaths, too many to even talk about. Last August, 3 innocent people were killed in Florida when an illegal alien from India made an unlawful U-turn, blocking all the lanes of the highway and causing a catastrophic crash. It was a disaster. Just a few weeks ago, a Pennsylvania state trooper was killed by an illegal alien from Haiti driving a semi-truck. He was let in by Joe Biden and the open border policy of the Biden administration. By the way, today we have the safest border in the history of our country.
Well, that border comment may or may not be true. I'm going to give you an update. Remember the story that we had this week with all the drugs that got smuggled across the northern border into Canada? I got a new update on the northern border tomorrow. It was shocking to me when I got this report from a journalist who's on the scene, is going to be on the show tomorrow. I was in disbelief. I had to question him. And I know this guy is a trustworthy patriot, but I'm like, really? He's like, no, dude, this is crazy. So I don't know about the border thing. We'll investigate that tomorrow. But okay. So Trump is calling out the issues here with the foreigners coming in, Democrats giving them the CDLs, and then they have these fatal crashes on the highways. And it's the same approach. He even brings up the open border. It's the same approach, which is a press release policy. That's all. We're going to go out there. We're a TV show. We're going to talk about things and we're going to do nothing. That's what this whole thing has turned into. It's a press release presidency. It's a TV show. And it drives me nuts. It drives me completely bonkers. Why don't you do something? Why don't you investigate each and every one of these cases? Obviously, Trump has a list of cases. He just read a few of them off. So Trump has the list of cases. So it's very simple. I mean, I don't think this takes a genius. You know, maybe my ego makes me think I'm smarter than everybody else, but I'm probably not. I think this is pretty average IQ stuff right here. Why don't you take that list of the fatal car crashes with the CDLs held by foreigners, and why don't you find out who gave them the CDL? Why don't you investigate each case and find out every single individual and every single institution that was responsible for them getting behind the wheel of a semi-truck, and why don't you arrest them? Why don't you arrest them and charge them with aiding and abetting in manslaughter? Do you really want to put an end to this? That's how you do it. Very simple. And hey, you know what? Look at it like this. You know, they wanted to put an end to you protesting. They did. They did. The government was so freaked out, ladies and gentlemen, the Washington, D.C. government was so freaked out that for 3 straight months, we were able to put 1 million bodies in Washington, D.C. after the stolen election. We did that. We had 1 million people in D.C. in November. We had 1 million people in D.C. in January, and we probably had well over 1 million in January. They didn't like that. So you know what they did, guys? They said, we have to put an end to this. And they meant it, and they were serious. And you know what they did? They arrested thousands of people, and they imprisoned thousands of people, and they ruined the lives of thousands of people. And they did guns drawn raids. And guess what? Nobody protests in D.C. anymore. See how that works? Done with that. Oh, they figured that out. They figured that out real easy. Hey, we can't have these Americans in Washington, D.C. We can't have these Americans protesting at the Capitol. We can't be around these people. We, the esteemed members of Congress, we can't be forced to deal with the American people. Not in D.C., not in our nation's capital. This is outrageous. What can we do? I know. Let's arrest them all. Let's call them all terrorists. And let's throw them in prison and ruin their lives. That'll teach them, and we'll never have another protest in Washington, D.C. again. Wow. Hey, that worked. Good job. Very effective. Good job. They did it. So now, why don't you do the same thing with anything else that you want to stop? You know how to do it. There's your blueprint. The Democrats proved it. Where there's a will, there's a way. And now what they've proven is that the Republicans have no will. The Republicans lack the will. The only thing the Republicans have the will to do is to fight wars overseas. That's it. Nothing else. The Republicans have no will to do anything else but fight some other war overseas and send your money and family over there to die. That's it. That's all they have the will to do. And it's like, how do you even reason with this? Okay, here's Trump again, addressing an issue. Here's Trump again, pointing out the big problem as if there's nothing he can do about it. It's like, this is what Republicans do. Republicans have all the power, and then they bitch about these things as if they have no power to do anything about it. They say, you need to elect me so we can do stuff about this. I already elected you, and you're not doing the thing. So I'm trying to reason, why won't they do this? Why won't the Trump administration, why doesn't Donald Trump call up the Justice Department, Harmeet Dillon, Jeanine Pirro, and say, hey, I need you guys to put a team to investigate what's going on in California with these CDLs. And I want to find out in all of these cases where we have a fatal car crash, I want to find out how they got their CDLs. I want to find out the individuals that gave it to them. I want to find the institutions they got them from and the institutions that hired them. And I want to start investigations, and I want there to be charges filed. Why doesn't Trump pick up the phone and do that? What's stopping him? What reason is there possibly to not do that? It makes no sense to me. And the only sense I can make of it is that maybe they are having these conversations, and the Justice Department, whoever is there speaking with Trump, says, well, sir, nobody's going to want that gig. And you might think, well, why would that be? You need to understand how the Justice Department works, and even more specifically at the federal level. The only thing they care about is their success rates, their conviction rates, and their incarceration rates. Now, the incarceration rate, that's more of a judge thing. The conviction rate, that's what federal prosecutors care about. That's what U.S. attorneys care about. That's all they care about. So if Trump comes to the Justice Department and says, I need a team to go out there and investigate and press charges against everybody giving people CDLs in California, the Justice Department is going to say, sir, nobody wants that gig because we won't be able to secure a conviction. Nobody wants to go out there and take a job where they don't think they can secure a conviction because that hurts their conviction rate and they cannot get a raise. They cannot get a promotion. This is how it operates at the federal level. This is how it operates with U.S. attorneys and prosecutors. All they care about is conviction rates. So that is the only reason I can think of why they wouldn't do this. Or I guess maybe more reasonably, it's that they just really don't care. They're not serious about anything. They never do anything. It's the press release TV show presidency. He pretends that he cares about these issues. They pretend like they're going to do stuff about these issues, and then they just never do. It's all an act. So I guess that's probably more likely the case. But no, that's how they think. That's how they think. And we don't give a damn about your conviction rates. We give a damn about justice. But believe me, as somebody that's been through that system multiple times, they don't give a damn about justice. They don't give a rat's ass about justice. They will stab justice in the front. They will stab justice in the back. They will push justice off a ledge as long as they get their conviction rate. And that's all that matters to them. And if they think it's too hard to get a conviction by investigating how these illegals are driving with CDLs, they're not going to take those cases. So it's another press conference with no action. Now, Trump came out, this was earlier in the week, and said he has a deal for the Blanche confirmation. Now, Blanche is, I would say facing an uphill battle to get the confirmation, but it looks like now he's facing an impossible battle, and Trump is getting ready to wave the white flag. Now, so earlier this week, Trump said, I have a deal on the Blanche confirmation. So they're wheeling and dealing, they're politicking. And then Cornyn came out, and he's one of the reasons why they can't get Blanche confirmed. And Cornyn is basically calling Trump a liar. And he says, fake news alert, there is no deal on the Blanche nomination. They know what they have to do. Now, they know what they have to do. Your guess is as good as mine. Cornyn doesn't indicate. But he's basically telling you they're politicking right now. They're twisting Trump's arm, and they're asking for things in order to secure a vote to confirm Todd Blanche. And so we know that Cornyn is obviously one of these holdouts. And when Trump came out and said he had a deal, Cornyn came out and said, no, he's lying. There is no deal. Now, I don't know what it is that they have to do to get the deal done to confirm Blanche. But now it looks like Trump is waving the white flag. Trump floats polling Blanche's nomination for Attorney General to avoid conceding to GOP demands. President Trump said today he may pull acting Attorney General Todd Blanche's nomination for the full-time post to avoid conceding to Senate Republicans demanding limits to a sweeping tax audit immunity deal before the president and members of his family that Trump negotiated with his own Department of Justice. Oh my gosh, guys. Look, try not to take things in politics personally, okay? But like, you realize how corrupt Donald Trump is? I mean, this is like, Trump is out there politicking from the Oval Office. And by the way, this isn't my exclusive. I've had a couple people now tell me this. And yesterday, I think it was yesterday, I made the post on social media. Let me see if I can pull that up, actually. Because Trump came out. This should have been in the stack anyway. Trump came out and said that nothing is going to happen to Fauci. And he said that he's going to respect the Biden auto pen pardons. So, I mean, that's just such a slap in your face. I mean, that's Trump just taking a fat dump on your plate for dinner. So, the auto pen, the greatest forgery in the history of this country, Trump's not interested in pursuing anything. And Fauci, he's not interested in pursuing Fauci either because he wants to respect the auto pen. Oh, he puts the auto pen up on the Walk of Fame and then just tells you it's all fake. He doesn't even believe it. I mean, what a chump. I just can't believe it, man. I'm sorry. Getting back to the news. So I've heard this from a couple people now. I posted this on X, and then a couple more people reached out. So Trump is going to pardon himself and all his friends, just like Biden did, so we will get no justice. And so that's basically what Trump is now admitting. But it sounds like not only is that Trump's plan, based off of these stories, and I think this is why people are reaching out to me and saying that this is the case, because this is actually public stuff in D.C. This is the negotiations actually happening in D.C. So most people on the Hill that work in Senate staff, you're probably hearing something about this. So Trump is asking these senators to basically give him and his family full immunity. So he's like looking for a redundancy factor. He wants full immunity, and he's going to eventually pardon himself and his family and all of his friends before he leaves office too. So he's looking for like a redundancy protection plan for his complete and total corruption as president of the United States. And he's politicking with the Senate. And he's saying, hey, you guys need to offer me this protection. You guys need to offer this immunity to me. And Cornyn and other senators are saying, and I guess it's Tom Tillis maybe, because he's the other holdout. And I guess Cornyn and Tillis at least are saying, okay, Trump, if you want us to give you and your family immunity, you're going to have to do something for us. And then again, I guess the handshake here politically is we'll confirm Blanche for you. So I don't know what it is Cornyn and Tillis want, but Trump wants immunity for his family, and Trump wants Blanche to be confirmed, and Cornyn and Tillis are saying no, and there's some sort of politicking and wheeling and dealing going on. Hey, guys, aren't you so glad Trump isn't corrupt like the rest of them? Now, he's out here, he's stumping for Blanche here, This is this morning. Trump posted this. Todd Blanche is a star, and everyone knows it. Yeah, he's the star that, helped cover up the Epstein case. He has the potential to go down as one of the greatest attorney generals of all time. Oh, how ironic. How ironic. Yes, just like Trump had the potential to go down as the greatest president of all time, and instead he will be known as the greatest letdown of all time, and borderline the biggest traitor and most corrupt president of all time on the current trajectory. So that's ironic that he would say that about Blanche when that is his own fate of the potential he had and squandered. And then he goes on to attack Cornyn, attack Tillis, and it's all just politicking. Trump is just trying to protect him and his family from what's coming. Okay, so that's your wheeling and dealing. Now, Blanche was in the news for other reasons today. Apparently, there are still some private meetings happening with Epstein victims, survivors, and the Department of Justice. And I guess Blanche is getting a little impatient, maybe you might say, based off of what we're hearing. So they did a press conference here. And of course, yeah, where are they? Outside John Cornyn's office. And so they did this brief press conference outside of Cornyn's office. So Cornyn is probably trying to use the Epstein survivors against Trump and against Blanche. And so they're having these meetings. I think she says it here. Let's listen in.
Yeah. When you say he was condescending, can you give us an example? Yeah. He actually said the words "get to the point" to us. We're survivors who've been waiting to meet with him for 9 months, 8 months. We've been asking for meetings. And he very much said, can you get to the point already? Like, what are you getting at? Right. So to treat us with that sort of, there was no integrity. There was no understanding that he's dealing with the largest sex trafficking ring that we've seen in the U.S. ever. Instead, it was like, you have an Epstein problem, right? How did he just? Yeah.
Now, I have to say, to a certain extent, I actually agree here with Todd Blanche. And let's say I believe the victims and the survivors here. Let's say I believe them, and maybe they're offended by Todd Blanche's approach here. This is delicate. This is difficult. Do you believe that Jeffrey Epstein and Maxwell were running the greatest sex trafficking operation in American history on planet Earth? That's kind of the conclusion most people have reached, but, it's a hoax. We're told it's a hoax. There's nothing to see here. So, Epstein and Maxwell were prosecuted for trafficking sex slaves to nobody. They just trafficked and had a bunch of sex slaves, but they trafficked them to nobody. And then everybody they had on record in prison all committed suicide conveniently, except Maxwell. So, okay. But aside from that, this is why it's a delicate situation. These women are obviously probably embarrassed, probably ashamed. I don't think it's something you want to come out and publicly admit to that, I'm not trying to be crass, but I think it kind of calls for it in this situation to give a little levity here. I don't think these women want to come out and say, hey, I was penetrated by whoever it is. These are nasty old men. These are grotesque monsters of men. And so there's shame, there's embarrassment to come out and say, I got penetrated, I got raped by these men. And that's kind of a public humiliation thing that they would have to go through. And so I can understand that. I can respect that. But at the same time, if you're going to come out here and you're going to tell the media that you have information, evidence, eyewitness accounts of the biggest sex trafficking ring in American history, then yeah, if I'm Todd Blanche, I'm getting up there and I'm saying, get to the point. I'm saying name names. I want dates. I want names. I want travel plans, itineraries, whatever you got, get to the point. So, we don't know the exact nature of what was happening in these meetings. We don't know the attitude of Blanche or who's got an agenda in there. But I do think it's kind of getting to this point where it's hard to continue to push for Epstein transparency when the people that have all the information are playing this weird cat and mouse game. And it's like, yeah, either give up the evidence, give up the names, or what do you want us to do? What do you want us to do? Maybe it's embarrassing. Whoever it is that raped you, whoever it is you were sex trafficked to, you're embarrassed, you're ashamed, whatever. But what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do if you're not willing to spill the beans? What are we supposed to do if you're not going to go through all the way with this? And we just have to sit here and go through Epstein files and deal with the administration that says it's a hoax. I don't know what you want us to do with that. So I don't know the nature of what, if he was condescending about it or what's going on behind the scenes or who's got agendas here. But I think a lot of people are starting to get to this point with the survivors and the victims, and they're saying, hey, look, this isn't to be disrespectful. This isn't to seem cold or callous or indifferent to whatever it is you went through. But hey, either put up the goods or shut up. Either go out there and bury these people and expose the whole thing, or just stop. Because it's becoming this shell game. It's becoming this cat and mouse game. And we're just sitting here with these files that we have to only make assumptions about. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I think there's people that will agree. I think there's people that will probably disagree. But I just don't understand what else. I don't understand what else. What are they supposed to do? It's like they've got these binders. They keep calling for these meetings. She says, we've been waiting for 9 months for this meeting. I'm sure Todd Blanche is probably busy. So either name names, dates, locations, evidence, whatever, put your case forward, or what are we doing here? So I kind of get it. Now, again, folks, don't misinterpret what I'm saying here. There is obviously an Epstein cover-up. There's obviously an Epstein cover-up happening in this administration. There's obviously a Trump-Epstein connection. Obviously. Okay? Let's not confuse what I'm saying and what I'm not saying here. There is an Epstein cover-up, and Trump and his administration are running it. But at the same time, here are the women that could blow the whole thing wide open, and they keep getting the opportunity to here, and it's just like it doesn't happen. So I don't know. That's a difficult one. All right, let's get into the geopolitical news developing here. Iran claims ballistic missile strike destroyed 3 U.S. F-35 jets at Jordan Air Base. Iran's Revolutionary Guard says attack on Al-Azraq Air Base was retaliation for a U.S. strike on Qasem Island. Jordan says it intercepted 5 Iranian missiles. Well, who knows who to trust? Well, I said yesterday, based off of Trump's response, whatever the attack was, or the results of the attack, the damage of the attack, it had to be very significant. Now, I thought it might have been casualties, and I thought maybe the reason why Trump is responding the way he is to this is because there were casualties. Now, Iran is claiming we took out jets and there were casualties. We're not getting anything from our government. We're not getting anything from the Trump administration. In fact, they're just denying anything happened, really. There was an attack. That's all they're admitting to. So I'm not telling you who to believe. Obviously, Iran is saying it was a success. We took out jets. They're even claiming casualties. There's really not much coming out of the Western media. So you have to go to the Times of Israel. Go figure. U.S. military says no U.S. aircraft was hit in attempted Iranian attack. So Iran is saying we hit 3 F-35s and we had casualties. Israel press and the U.S. government is saying, nope, no such things happened. But I would say based off of the response of President Trump, something did happen. Something happened. Something really bad happened, whether it was casualties or whether it was jets or whether it was just general destruction of the base. Something serious happened in this attack because Trump's response indicates that to me. Now, I do think they say it was a surprise attack, right? That's the narrative of the Trump administration, that this was a surprise attack. But, you know, that's not really true. And I'm the two things I'm wondering right now are, did Trump pause? You know, the negotiations aren't happening. Okay, Trump's been lying about negotiations for at least a month, maybe months. So negotiations are not happening. Did Trump pause because we are depleted right now? Did Trump pause because we need to kind of have some reinforcements and we need a little time here to get back to being at the strength we need to be to fight this war? You know, we're kind of a little spread thin right now with Ukraine and with Iran now, not to mention all the things that we give to Israel. So we're kind of a little thin. And so I'm curious if the reason Trump paused is because we're depleted as far as, you know, weapons, missiles, whatever. And Iran actually came out. So they say, the administration says it was a surprise attack. Last week, the Iranian spokesperson came out and said, we have destroyed the U.S. radar systems. We are about to attack a base and they will not see it coming. That happened. That happened. And then Iran attacked a U.S. base and they didn't see it coming. All of those things happened. You cannot deny these things. All of these things happened. So the only questions that remain are, why did Trump really pause the strikes? And how much damage was actually done in Iran strikes on the base? Iran said that this was going to happen, and then they did it. And if the Trump administration wants to say they were surprised, well, okay, maybe they were surprised because maybe Iran really did take out the radar systems. And I know it's hard to believe. It's hard to fathom. And we've been propagandized our whole lives by this. And I'm not even claiming that I don't think the U.S. military is not the best in the world. I have no doubt that our military's capabilities and our personnel can probably do whatever they want on a mission, at least in the current status. I mean, we're not at war with China or directly with Russia or India or Turkey or anything like that. So I have no doubt about our military might. But at the same time, maybe we're not getting the full truth as far as Iran. Well, that's not a maybe. Obviously, they're lying about Iran. But it's just like, clearly we're in this weird place where we're not really committing to this war because we know it's not popular. And maybe we thought we could just kind of bully and twist Iran's arm into bending to Israel's will. And it's just not happening. It's just simply not happening. And now the option on the table is, I think what it sounds like is that they don't have the normal stuff that they've been using in Iran. And the only option on the table right now is to escalate it and drop big ones. Or they're going to have to wait until they can restock on the smaller missiles. Now, this was the latest from Trump. Again, responding to the attack.
In the meantime, we're going to be hitting them very hard because it's our turn to hit them. They know it's coming. They're asking us not to do it. But, they tried shooting it last night. So we had 5 rockets shot going 8,500 miles an hour. And all 5 rockets were knocked down to the ground. But they nevertheless took a shot. So it's our turn. And we'll see if we get there with an agreement at some point. But we're going to hit them very hard.
It's all grotesque. It's our turn. So we'll see what the Trump administration does next. Obviously, Trump has lied the whole time. Okay. The whole time he's been lying about this. And the only question is, what is he not lying about? And by the way, we now have a confirmation that they're cooking the books on the death count, by the way. Pentagon ties new casualty category for renewed U.S.-Iran fighting to the end of Operation Epic Fury. So you can go into this whole story here. In other words, they're writing up new rules and how they quantify fatalities and what they're going to classify as a fatality in the war. So they're cooking the books. They're cooking the books as far as how many have died in this war. And they're telling us the number is 18. I don't believe it. I think it's bigger than that. But that's the number they're telling us. And now they're coming out because some people are starting to kind of ask the question and put together the numbers. And they're saying, wait a second, we know of at least 21 people. And they're saying, oh, no, we're not tallying the deaths like that. We're saying these numbers are for this war and these numbers are for this war. And these are separate categories. And then if something happens over here, that's not even connected. We just don't even count that at all. So now they're just admitting they're cooking the books. But the one thing undeniably that Trump continues to lie about is Iran's capabilities. So now Trump is admitting that they have missiles that they can launch at our bases. And just a week before that, he said they have no missiles, they have no capabilities. So Trump continues to lie about Iran's capabilities. The only question is why? Think about how nonsensical it all is. So they're telling you, they want you to believe that Iran has a nuclear bomb, but they don't have a missile or a jet. I mean, it's so stupid, guys. I mean, it's literally like retard level, the propaganda of this war. So Trump will tell you 100 times they have no Navy, they have no missiles, they have no jets, they have nothing. But they have a nuclear bomb, though. They have a nuclear bomb. We got to stop them from getting a nuclear bomb. They have nothing else. All they have is a nuclear bomb. And of course, they don't have a nuclear bomb, but they do have a Navy and missiles and aircraft. So they lie about the nuclear bomb and they say they have it when they don't. And then they lie about Iran's military capabilities and say they don't have it when they do. I mean, it's outrageous. It's outrageous levels of propaganda. It's 1984 levels of propaganda. So now Trump is just stuck in this mess. There's really no way out. The only way out is for Trump to take an ego hit and basically admit that he couldn't win it. And it was a horrible foreign policy decision, and he was drug into it by Netanyahu. Now, honestly, if I was advising Trump, here you go. I do this for free. Here's $1 million of free political advice for Donald Trump. And I'm working for Trump here. So I know, hey, you know what? We have to find a way to maintain Trump's ego. We have to find a way to maintain Trump's superiority complex. And so I would say to Donald Trump, I'd say, Mr. President, this is a disaster. And now this is such a big disaster that you could lose the midterms and the Democrats are going to impeach you and maybe worse. So I would advise you, it's time to get out of this mess. Now, I know, Mr. President, that's a big ding to your ego. That's a big ding to your reputation. And we don't want to admit that you made a mistake and lied to the people for the foreign lobby. We don't want to admit that. So I think I have a plan for you, Mr. President. Here's what you need to do. You need to declare victory, say that you have eliminated Iran's nuclear capabilities and they are not going to build a nuclear bomb. Just say it. Who cares what's true or not? You don't mind lying. So just tell them that you won and you have a deal and they're not going to have a nuclear weapon and we're pulling out of the region. We're just done. We're done with the war. We're coming out of the region. And then you blame Pete Hegseth and you blame Netanyahu and you wipe your hands clean of the entire situation. And you need to do this. You need to do this by the end of summer. It's your only way out. You're going to have to do it. If you get more involved in this war, it's going to crush you. If you get more involved in this war, Democrats are going to do worse things to you after they win the midterms. If you get more involved in this war, there's going to be more body bags coming home. And the only way for you to win it is to either put boots on the ground or put a massive smoldering hole in Iran. And you don't want to do either one of those things. So just declare victory, say you've eliminated the nuclear program, you have a deal they're not going to make a nuke, get out of there, blame Netanyahu, blame Hegseth, and just wipe your hands of it, pretend it never happened, and move on to stuff that will actually help you out in the midterms. Move on to stuff that the American people actually want. So, $1 million worth of political advice for President Trump. He won't take it, though. I don't know who he's got in there advising him, but this thing is a disaster. So we were curious about morale in the U.S. military. And we had some stories that made me wonder. And it kind of ties into the whole thing about the attack on the base in Jordan. Like, they're banning them from using phones. It's like, maybe they're concerned that the information might get out. But what about the IDF? They've had problems too. More than 100 IDF soldiers go AWOL, leaving weapons behind. Soldiers and commanders from the Givati Brigade Savar Battalion left the base without authorization following a confrontation with the battalion commander who broke company's heritage board, being absent without leave, going to prison. None of that matters, one soldier said. So, they're making it out like, and they've presented some evidence of this, that they're doing these like paintings, these artworks. They're calling them heritage boards. And apparently this is, I guess, a tradition, and it helps with their morale. It helps them feel purpose in the military. It's kind of like local color and community. And so apparently the commander the battalion commander was going in and smashing them and saying they couldn't have it. And that's what this whole rebellion was about. Now, as I've said, they've presented evidence that is true. But part of me doubts that that's the whole story. Part of me doubts that they would walk off like that just over a painting board. I feel like, honestly, guys, I feel like the people that are fighting this war are really not in it. I don't think their hearts are in it. I think they're asking questions about why they're doing it and who is it good for. I think these militaries are sick of fighting these wars for their entire lives, and I think the soldiers are finally starting to get sick of it. So maybe there's some truth to it's about these boards, but I don't think so. I think it's much bigger than that. I think this is a morale issue in the IDF. There's been other signs of morale issues in the IDF. I think there's morale issues in our military right now too, because don't be confused about it, guys. Members of the IDF, they see the negative headlines about Netanyahu. Maybe they agree, maybe they don't, but they see it. Members of the U.S. military, they see all the talk. They see all the buzz about the Israeli lobby owning our Congress, our foreign policy, using our military as their own. They know about the merger bill. They know about this stuff. This certainly hurts morale, and they're probably not even really sure what they're doing there at this point. And I will tell you, I don't know if Iran has that same problem, guys. And you could probably make a case that Trump bombing Iran was basically their 9/11, and it has united their country in such a way that they are really behind this war, and they don't even care who the leader is. By the way, same thing is happening in Russia. And every time Ukraine is able to drone strike inside of Russian territory, a similar phenomenon is happening in Russia right now. Now, Russia's had some problems with their own morale, but that's starting to go the right way for them. Meanwhile, you've got IDF soldiers walking off bases. You've got the Trump administration lying about what's going on, and then apparently banning soldiers from even accessing their phones. The Ukraine situation, you have them out there trying to scoop up Ukrainians to fight in this war. They're literally fighting and kidnapping Ukrainian men and throwing them into the back of trucks, forcing them to go fight in this war. Russia doesn't have that problem. Iran doesn't have that problem. And so I think it gives you kind of a good idea of who's really fighting this for a purpose, who's really fighting this for their heart, for their country, and who is forced to fight this war against their will, against their wishes, or against their better judgment. It's very telling. But did you guys know you have to actually accept all of this now? You have to accept all of this now because Benjamin Netanyahu is a descendant of Moses. Dead serious. Benjamin Netanyahu is claiming he is a direct descendant of Moses. And, of course, Moses Milakovsky. Benjamin Netanyahu's real name is Milakovsky. He changed his name. You can ask him why. But, yes, Benjamin Milakovsky claims he is a direct descendant of Moses. Of course he is, guys. Of course he is. He's a direct descendant of Moses, and he was promised greater Israel 3,000 years ago. Of course he was. That's why we're fighting this war, guys. That's Moses up there telling you this. Wow. That is funny. By the way, they're running more of this propaganda here. And you may catch this. You know, because they're claiming the Iranian regime, I think the latest number we saw was they've killed 52,000 people, right? The Iranian regime has killed 52,000 people. So, of course, they really don't have much evidence. The only evidence I've seen of anything is when the U.S. Israel-backed rebels, they sent the money and they sent the weapons in there. They couldn't get Al-Qaeda to do it. They couldn't get any of their proxy groups to do it. So they just tried to arm Iranians. And their hopes was that the Iranians would rise up and take down their own government. Well, that failed. And there were definitely some Iranians that got killed in that process. So whoever it was that Israel and the United States were arming to go fight the Iranian regime, well, they got into a gunfight. They died. They weren't trained. So, you know, that did happen. That's the only evidence I've seen. So they're claiming this girl here, this student, Ahu Dayare, they're claiming that she was executed by the Iranian regime. Now, this is a total lie, like pure fiction, 100% made up. In fact, it's mainstream news about this girl that she was in prison and got released. It even got a note, a community note. She was released 2 years ago. So, like, there's proof of life, and the arrest happened 2 years ago. So this is how bad the propaganda is right now to get you to support this war, guys. They're claiming this girl got executed by the Islamic regime, and it's mainstream news that she was released from prison. And they just make this crap up. The whole thing is made up. She was doing some protest. She lost her mind. She got convicted to a mental asylum because she was running around naked in the streets. And they said, oh, they executed her and they ripped her clothes off. Literally, none of it happened. Now, think about it like this. If there were really all of these people getting executed by the Iranian regime, why would they give you a fake story like that? Why would they give you such an obviously fake story like that if there were real executions happening? And I guess the answer is they wouldn't. They wouldn't. All right, let's do two more things here, and we'll take our final break. You guys have probably seen this before. I want to pull this up here and make a point again. You've probably seen this stuff, and, you know, they always throw me into these lists now. It's always an Israel flag in the bio, too, as you can see here. They say, Islamists executed over 170 Christians in Nigeria for refusing to convert to Islam. Candace Owens, silent. Owen Schroyer, silent. Tucker Carlson, you know, they go down the whole list here. Okay. Yeah, you understand that the logic here is against you. You understand that this logic is against you. I'm not the one that supports foreign interventions. I'm not the one that supports military interventions in foreign countries for religious reasons. That's you guys. You guys are the ones that want our military fighting Islamists. You guys are the ones that are pushing for intervention every time an Islamist kills somebody. So why are you directing this at us? We're actually consistent here. We don't want intervention in the Middle East. We don't want intervention in North Africa. We're consistent. You guys are the ones that are inconsistent. You guys are the ones that are silent. Why don't you go to Nigeria? Why doesn't the IDF go to Nigeria? Where are the calls to send the U.S. military to Nigeria? Of course, they don't exist because you guys are the frauds. You guys are the liars. You guys that are the ones that don't have logical consistency. You guys should be the ones begging the IDF to go to Nigeria. You guys should be the ones begging the U.S. military to go to Nigeria. You guys should be the ones going to Nigeria to fight this good cause. You guys are the hypocrites here, not us. You guys' propaganda is so bad. It's just as bad as the left, honestly. It's kind of worse. Right-wing propaganda is currently worse than left-wing propaganda. And you know what's ironic about it? Russia and Iran put out better propaganda than Trump. The Trump administration puts out pure slop. I mean, just pure garbage, AI slop, QAnon trash. The Trump administration produces pure slop propaganda, garbage propaganda. Meanwhile, Iran is putting out propaganda calling out the Epstein files. Iran is putting out Epstein files and cover up propaganda. Hey guys, remember MAGA? Remember when you guys cared about Epstein? Hey MAGA, remember the campaign? Remember the Epstein files? Remember that 2024 MAGA? Remember we were big on the Epstein stuff? Remember? Iran is now doing Epstein propaganda, calling out the Epstein cover-up, calling out the Epstein clients, calling out the Epstein files, calling out AIPAC, calling out the Israeli lobby. Say whatever you want about it. That's good propaganda. And guess what? That's what MAGA used to stand for. MAGA used to stand against the foreign lobby. MAGA used to stand against the Epstein class. And now Iran is standing against the foreign lobby and against the Epstein class, and they're aiming this propaganda at the United States. And the Trump administration is saying that Epstein files are a hoax and that Trump is Q and a time traveler. And then there's Russia. Russia, what is Russia doing? Putin is out here doing interviews. Putin is out here doing press conferences, and he's saying the West has a elite pedophile problem. Putin is out here doing press conferences saying Western leadership are compromised and blackmailed and corrupt and pedophiles. So again, I'm not telling you who to support, who not to support. It's all propaganda. But MAGA used to talk like that. Russian propaganda and Iranian propaganda is the same MAGA propaganda from 2024. All they did, all Putin has done and all Iran has done was they've taken MAGA propaganda from 2024 and now they've turned it into their own propaganda that they're aiming at the West. And the Trump administration is now telling you Epstein is a hoax and putting out QAnon slop. Try to make any sense of that.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
Folks, today's show is brought to you by Crash Out Energy, the official energy drink of the Owen Report. Formulated by me, for me, but for us, for you. Because, you know, I was drinking my energy drinks every day before the show. I needed 200 milligrams of caffeine, and I needed nootropics. So I was drinking these energy drinks. I was chasing down my nootropics, and I sat there learning more about all the toxic ingredients in the energy drinks and said, I can't do this every day. I can't drink these toxic energy drinks every day. Eventually, it's going to catch up to me. So I said, I need to formulate my own energy drink that has 200 milligrams of caffeine, has the nootropics for mental focus, clarity, and energy, and is actually good for me, actually has health benefits. That is Crash Out Energy. That's why I made it. That's what I drink every day before I go on air to do a 3-hour show. And that's what you can do as well by going to crashout.energy. Secure your canister today. Crashout.energy, the official energy drink of the Owen Report.
It's your favorite podcaster's favorite podcast, The Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, final hour here of today's Owen Report. You know, we kind of got some odds and ends here. Mostly just odds and ends for the rest of the show. I guess the most interesting stuff will probably be what we talk about with the new Tyler Robinson footage. Let's get through it here. Did you see these videos in Spain? I've got some of them. They're quite shocking. Spain sends extra troops and police to Ceuta after thousands of migrants arrive. Unknown number of people have swum and waded into Spanish enclave that neighbors Morocco. You kind of get some of the sense here. I mean, these are shocking videos. I mean, this is crazy. And we've seen this before. We've seen this before in Spain. We've seen this before in Europe. It's just wild. Can you imagine this happening at your home? I don't think that analogy is a stretch at all. I think that's a very fair analogy. You wouldn't want this invasion happening at your home. Let me pull up a couple of these other videos here. You can get a just an idea of how shocking it is. I mean, massive boats, thousands of them just pouring off and climbing on the rocks, climbing the fences and sneaking into Spain. And where do they go? Where do they go? I mean, you're essentially a criminal, right? I mean, that's what you are. You're a criminal when you do this. And so where does the criminal go? Where does the criminal go when they get entry? Where does the criminal go hide when they invade your country? I mean, that's insane. Here's another angle of it. You know, it sounds inhumane, and maybe it is a little bit. But I'm just curious. It's like, why isn't there somebody there shooting them? I mean, this is an invasion. I mean, that's clearly an invasion. Why isn't there security forces there shooting these people? Okay, that's too extreme. We don't want that. All right, fine. So you don't have a border, and you allow invaders into your country. You don't want to shoot them. That's too much. All right, fine. Fine, it's not worth shooting somebody over. But what are you going to do? They got in. They're in. Thousands of them got in. They poured into your country. These are criminals. Where are they going? What are they doing? I mean, this is madness. Honestly, that is madness. But you know what? We have seen this a lot in Spain. The response to this seems to be the most extreme. The response as far as the media and the people and even a government response, this could be the one that finally breaks the back of Spain's politics, and they say, okay, we're stopping this. Now, Spain is very, you know, it's ironic when you look at the politics around the world. It's like the countries that have the best foreign policy have bad domestic policies. The countries that have the worst foreign policies have the best domestic policies. It's kind of a strange phenomenon we have. And Spain is kind of an example of that. You know, very liberal, very left. But, you know, it's like I'm kind of jealous of Spain's foreign policy, you know, but not so much the domestic policy. Very liberal. And this is the kind of open border crap that you see. This could be the one that stops that kind of liberal open-mindedness about the open borders and the migration, though. This one really got a lot of attention, and maybe it was the biggest one yet, too. And it's right there on the Spanish beaches. You know, families there hanging out. This could be the one that Spain finally wakes up and says, okay, enough is enough. We have to stop this now. So it'll be interesting to see if that is the one. All right. Let's get into the latest with the Tyler Robinson case drama. Now, we showed the footage. I have it again today. We showed the footage of Tyler Robinson, or you know, they're claiming it's Tyler Robinson getting on the roof and taking a shot. I'm open-minded to be convinced of that. I'm open-minded that they can present that case and prove beyond a reasonable doubt that that is Tyler Robinson. But obviously, any honest person will tell you that the video alone proves nothing. The video proves nothing more than that there was a guy on the roof. That's really all it proves. That video proves one thing, that there was a guy on the roof. It doesn't really prove anything about a gun. It doesn't really prove anything about a shot. It doesn't really prove anything about who it is. Any honest person should be willing to admit that. So if you want to prove that he took the shot or who it was, you know, all this stuff, you're going to have to build that case, because that video alone doesn't do it. And of course, the big joke is, as it is now confirmed, yes, that is the video they showed in the courtroom. So when we had the big moment a couple Fridays ago where they decided they were going to cut off the media from the evidence that was being presented to prove probable cause, the journalists, and that was kind of the biggest day. A lot of MAGA journalists ended up in the courtroom that day, and they left after the media was cut off from sharing the evidence. They went outside the courtroom and they told reporters that they saw clear as day footage that Tyler took the shot. I mean, that was the presentation and the claim. I don't know if anybody said 4K or if that kind of ended up becoming a meme. But no, they claimed it was clear as day. They claimed it was conclusive that they had seen the video of Tyler taking a shot. And so that was kind of the presentation, is like, hey, we just saw the video, guys. It's definitely Tyler. It's over. They got him. But maybe they were relying on you're not seeing the video. Maybe there's some emotional psychology going on here, since, you know, it's Charlie Kirk, their friend, and that's the guy that they think did it. Now they're watching this video. They're convincing themselves. I don't know. But they go out there and they say it's clear as day, beyond a reasonable doubt. It's HD footage. We can see him. We take the shot. And I guess they thought we would never see the video. And somehow Candace gets the video. And now we've all seen the video. And now it's confirmed that is the video. So there's this weird thing happening now in, I don't even know where I would categorize this. I guess it's the official narrative believers. I guess that's where you would categorize this. And they're making these jokes like this here. They say Candace Owens and Alex Jones are right. The person in the video looks nothing like Tyler Robinson, but, you know, it does look a lot like Bigfoot. And so this is like the big joke, like, oh, we got Candace, we got Alex Jones, because they don't believe the official narrative. Right, because conspiracy theorists are never proven right, ever. And the government obviously has never lied to us about assassinations or anything for that matter. Okay. But it's like, wait a second, guys, hold on a second. You realize that the famous image of Bigfoot is actually a better quality image than the image of Tyler Robinson. The video footage of Bigfoot has better resolution and better detail than the image of Tyler Robinson. So the joke's on you. I don't know how you think this is an own of anybody but yourself. I don't get. Like, the joke is that the Bigfoot footage is more clear than the Tyler Robinson footage. So what is this self-own? And they're like, oh, look, it could, like, what? So it just gets weirder and weirder from the official narrative believers. Now, this is the other journalist that is confirming that it was the same video, Brandy Siciliani. The rooftop video of Tyler Robinson shown in Candace Owens' episode tonight is the same footage we saw in the courtroom. The only difference, Candace's footage was even more zoomed in than what was shown in court. I don't remember being able to see anyone doing a lateral crawl because it was so far away. And then she says, great work to Candace. If you think that video is crystal clear, 4K, HD, zoomed in proof that that's Tyler Robinson pulling the trigger, you need to get your eyes checked. Well, again, this is... Obviously, she's talking facetiously about getting the eyes checked. Let's just be open-minded and consider everything. Obviously, it's weird. It's weird that anybody would claim that that video is proof of anything. You look at that video as a standalone, you don't know what you just saw. You saw some guy doing something on a roof. That's all you know. That's all you know. Maybe you're not even sure it's a guy. I don't know. But no, that's all that video conclusively can prove, is that here's a guy on the roof doing something. Now, you put it in the context of we're investigating a shooting, an assassination, then, okay, maybe you reach conclusions. This is him doing a crawl. This is him getting in the prone position, and then it looks like taking a shot and sprinting off. So you might be able to reach that conclusion. Not everybody would agree that that's beyond a reasonable doubt, but that's all you could reach from watching that video. So why would anybody claim that that is HD? Why would anybody claim that that video proves it's Tyler Robinson when it clearly doesn't? Now, again, guys, let's just be open-minded. Let's be fair. You've got Charlie Kirk, who is friends with a lot of these people, and you've got Tyler Robinson in the courtroom, and they believe that that is his killer. Guys, I'm telling you, that stuff can fuck with your mind. I'm just saying, I'm not making excuses. Okay. I'm not trying to hide from anything here. I'm just telling you that can really fuck with your mind. Your mind can deceive you and play tricks on you when you are that emotional about something. I mean, it's kind of the joke about women, right? It's true though. That's true. When emotion overwhelms everything else, your mind can play tricks on you and you do crazy things that make no sense. So, okay, let's just be open-minded and consider that. But most people aren't going to think like that. Most people are going to listen to me say that and say, oh, and stop it, you're making excuses. Fine, that's fair. But I want to at least present that. So obviously now the situation is, people are going to ask the question even more, why did you say that that was Tyler Robinson? Why did anybody say that convincingly, like in unison, like they were reading a script, that is clearly Tyler Robinson, HD shot, like, oh, we've got it. Oh my gosh. It's very weird. There's no way around that. They did that. Now, if they want to answer the question as to why, they can do that. But for any other honest people that are looking at that neutrally, that proves nothing, proves absolutely nothing. And quite frankly, what you've done now, anybody who claimed that that was HD footage of Tyler Robinson taking the shot, now you've just hurt your cause and your case even worse. Now it looks even worse. If you would have come out and said, okay, we saw basically the exact same security video, except this time it's him getting on the roof and in a position, but it's basically the same video, same thing, same distance, same pixelation. It's like, okay, that's honest. But they sold it to you like it was new. They sold it to you like it was HD. They sold it to you like you could see Tyler's face and that was convincing. And that's obviously a lie. And so I don't know. I hate to think the worst of people. I hate to go down that dark road. Obviously, that's where most people are going. And it's hard to deny your reason and logic taking you that direction. But I'm not the one that's going to have to answer those questions. Now, the other curiosity, which I think if this was the case, we would know it by now. So I don't think we will know this until it gets to trial. But now the real curiosity is, getting back to the actual case, can they convince you that is Tyler Robinson on the roof? That's the question. So, okay, we now have the video. We have the video of the guy getting on the roof, getting into the position, maybe taking the shot, maybe, I don't know. I can't tell you. If I'm on the jury, that's not, I have plenty of reasonable doubt whether he takes a shot or not. Off that video alone, plenty of reasonable doubt whether or not he takes the shot. But yes, okay, we got the video. He's on the roof. He gets into the position. There's a potential there. There is a possibility that person is the one that took the shot. Obviously, you can't deny that. But it is not beyond a reasonable doubt who it is or if they took the shot. These things, to me, still have a reasonable doubt. So now it becomes an issue of, can they put together a convincing map, timeline, and, quite frankly, images and video proving that was Tyler Robinson? That's the question now, and we won't have that answer until we get to court. Now, there's a couple of other weird things, and, I've kind of remained consistent. It's like when this first happened on September 10th, and it just so happened, I was kind of in a weird state of limbo between leaving InfoWars and starting the Owen Report. So I was kind of in a weird place where I wasn't really on air every day, but for the month of September was really digging into this and reporting on this every day. And then it got to such a toxic level, I said, okay, I've done my coverage. I've said my piece. Now it's time to wait for other pieces of evidence. And now it's time to wait for the actual trial to happen before I want to get too into this toxic stuff. So I'm going to go into a couple other odds and ends here of things that I wouldn't say I'm avoiding them because I covered these things, last year. But now that we have this video, all of a sudden, these things kind of come back into play. Now, I want to go to this video. This was the governor of Utah, Governor Cox, when they first made the arrest and they had that weird, awkward, press conference with no evidence. An interesting thing that he says right here.
Yes. So when he's first spotted on campus, he has different clothing on, and then he changes clothing on the roof, and then changed back into that clothing at some point, so that when he was apprehended, when he was arrested, the clothing matched the clothing he had on before the shooting here at UVU. Yes.
Okay. Obviously, he's either lying or they were wrong. There was no change of clothes on the roof. And now we know that. And quite frankly, I don't even know about the assembly of the gun now. Now the whole assembly of the gun on the roof comes into question. Now, I don't want to spend a bunch of time on the video. You know, I can talk about what's in it, what it looks like in the video. And, you know, I guess I'll play it. I'll put this on screen and I'll kind of just do commentary here. But I'm guessing most people have seen the video, but we'll put it on the screen now. At no point do we see anybody changing clothes on the roof. And at no point even does it seem like somebody is assembling a gun on the roof. Now, I suppose, you know, the image is so grainy and incomprehensible that, you know, can you claim that they were assembling a gun or not? I don't know. And this is the stuff that the Candace team put together recently, where they're claiming that this guy had military training. I'm not so into that. Could be real, could be not. I don't know. Anybody can crawl across a roof and jump off a roof. I mean, I have no military training, and you might be surprised at the type of Spider-Man abilities I have. So really, I'm not really too into that. Now, here's what's going to be interesting, and I think it flops on the screen right now. There's two things that happen that are interesting. There's clearly some sort of right there you see there's some sort of a article of something. And I guess, you know, they could say that this was the towel or whatever it was he was wrapping around it. There's other questions they're going to have to be asked and answered about that. But that's some article of clothing or a towel that you can see kind of flops over, and that's what he was concealing the gun in, which goes back to, well, where was the gun assembled? It looks like the gun was already assembled when he got on the roof, but I don't know. The image is no good. You can't really tell, but there's clearly something there. Now, what's interesting, when he's going to run away here, again, the video is so grainy and pixelated, it's hard to be convinced of anything. And this image is obviously worse than the original because this is a recording of a recording. So this isn't even the actual footage. It's a recording of the footage. So that's why it's kind of even worse than what it normally would be. So that's the zoomed in version. So this is the longer version here. I want to get to a certain point. And there's going to be a lot more here, guys, by the way. I don't know. Well, I don't know like I've known before. But let's just say I have a feeling there's going to actually be more footage that comes out. Now, I know there was some new video that came out yesterday that nobody had seen before. That was just some girl uploaded her day on campus, her time going to the event that day. There's not really anything in that, but the point is people are still finding new videos. I have a pretty strong feeling that there's going to be more videos of him on the roof. I don't know if it's going to be security footage or others, but I have a feeling that we haven't seen all the footage yet. I don't know. It's just a feeling. I'm not, this isn't like I knew that Candace had other stuff that she was going to reveal. This is a feeling I have. But getting back to this. So there's a point in this when he's running off the roof. I want to try to get the right screen grab here. So this is apparently when he's taking the shot. He's getting it lined up. And again, it's all convoluted because there's zooms and there's different angles and the pixelations, but okay. So again, nothing is really conclusive. Nothing is really conclusive. But okay, I'd say clearly the man is down in the prone position. And if you want to say, okay, he takes the shot. So you can see there's something there. There's something on the ground there. Here's the guy. Here's whatever the object, whatever the article was that was concealing the weapon. If you even believe there was a weapon. I mean, is this even convincing? Is this even beyond reasonable doubt that there's even a gun there? No, actually, I would say. Doesn't mean there's not, but it's just like you can't really tell. But I'd say right here, you can tell there's something here, and then here's the man. And so then he's going to take off. And this is a weird thing right here. So this could be a gun, maybe. Again, you can't convince me that that is or isn't, but okay, it looks like maybe there's a long and a barrel right here, and there's something flopping. There's some article flopping. Now, who knows what this person is wearing? Who knows if they can show you any other videos or images of right before this moment and what this person is wearing? So you really don't know, but this is clearly some article of something. It could be a towel. It could be like a poncho, a hoodie, but something here is flowing and you can see it. I mean, you can see clearly, like right there, like something, he's got something here, towel, a hoodie, a poncho, whatever, and you can kind of see that. But the video here is so bad, it doesn't really convince me of anything. Now, here's what's interesting. And it's amazing that you're barely hearing anything about this. There was a rifle recovered at the scene of the crime that day. There was a rifle that was recovered, not whatever they found in the woods days later that they're attributing to Tyler and saying was the weapon. And I haven't seen anybody else point this out, and maybe it's a reach, but, so is saying a 30-06 doesn't go through a human neck. That's quite a reach, too. So reaching is apparently fair in this case. So this is the only rifle. You may remember, they did recover. This was the only rifle recovered at the scene right here. Okay? And look at what this guy is wearing. He's got like a hoodie lab coat. What did we see in that video? Something flopping, something waving, something loose article of clothing or something waving as he's running away, like a lab coat or a hoodie. Why isn't this guy talked about more? Very strange. Now, I don't want to get into the autopsy. I see some people say the autopsy proves their point. Some people say the autopsy proves their point. I don't know. You get shot. Okay, you could have trauma to the chest. Some people are saying the trauma to the chest proves it wasn't a shot, and it's, I'm not too into the autopsy. We'll see if anybody can really move me on that. Now, another thing that's happened, and this is where you kind of start to dip your toe into the toxic nature of it, but let's just for a moment here. We all remember it was weird. It was weird. The Erica Kirk and Charlie casket video. I mean, that's very weird. Whatever, let's say, okay, we're not judging anybody. We're not going to judge the widow here. Whatever. Everybody grieves differently. But, I mean, that's weird. I don't really see... I just don't really ever see that. I don't know how else to say that. The video is weird. And... I mean, let's just say it. It looks fake. I mean, Charlie's hands look fake. Now, obviously, there's perfectly reasonable possibilities of why that could be. So I'm not even trying to go down a conspiracy road here. But so now people have done an AI analysis, and they have submitted all of these different pictures of Charlie and Erica. And obviously, they've got a bunch of pictures. I can show you some examples here. They've got a bunch of pictures, Charlie and Erica, wedding photos, everything else with their hands, and Erica's hands touching Charlie's and Charlie's on Erica's. And then you've got the hands right here. Now you look at this right here alone and you can see, Charlie's hands are clearly bigger than Erica's at least. I mean, probably maybe like twice the size of Erica's. These are their official wedding photos. And then here's the video from the casket, and Erica's hands are bigger than Charlie's. Maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe there's a reason. I don't know if bones shrink, do your bones shrink when you die? I've never heard that one, but maybe there's a reasonable explanation, but clearly there's something weird. So people plugged it into an AI. They plugged all these photos into AI, and the AI says, no, it's not the same hand. So I don't know. Maybe it means something. Maybe it doesn't. And I just don't know, guys. It's like, I don't want to use that stuff here. I want to stick to the scene of the crime. I want to stick to the evidence of the crime. And I don't even want to get into the different satellite weirdness issues kind of surrounding that. But this is what people are talking about. This is what people are looking at, and it is weird. There's no denying it. There's no denying it's weird. It could be innocent enough. It could be nothing. But yet it is weird, and the whole thing is weird. And so people are asking questions, and rightfully so, and they should. And that's what's so strange. Why would you not want people asking questions when we know the government lies to us, and we know they lie to us specifically about assassinations? And now I'm supposed to believe the biggest evidence of them all is the confession letter that Lance Twiggs, the transgender, not transgender, who even knows the deal there, boyfriend, girlfriend, and now Tyler is confessing now new confessions. We've got new confessions, guys. Lance Twiggs, the boyfriend, girlfriend, new confessions, new evidence, new text, and it's just perfect. Oh, I did it. It was me. I did it. It's like, oh, it couldn't have been written nicer if you were investigating. I'm sorry, I don't trust this Twiggs character. And I find it incredibly suspicious that the investigators here trust this character. And I find it even more suspicious that they apparently were willing to cut a deal with this character for immunity. I don't like that at all. I don't trust this person. And I'm going to tell you this, as I said it before. If they can convince me it was Tyler Robinson, you're not going to be able to convince me he acted alone. I do not believe, if you can convince me it was Tyler, I'd love to see you try to convince me he acted alone. I don't believe it. I do not believe Tyler acted alone. And there is way too much evidence at the scene of the crime that he did not act alone. Way too much evidence. Way too much. And now we're going to rely on the transgender boyfriend, girlfriend with new confession letters magically popping up. You know, the first one they burned and then they scanned it and they were able to put together what it said. Like, it's all nonsensical. It's all very weird. And I don't trust it. I don't trust it. All right. You know, there's a big MAGA fraudster getting exposed here, apparently. This MAGA influencer runs a charity to kids civics, to teach kids civics. Much of the money goes to himself instead. Nick Adams, Foundation for Liberty and American Greatness, has brought in millions in donations and helped him land a State Department appointment. But records show there is almost no indication FLAG was spending that money on its stated mission. You know, this guy was always strange to me. And how he was able to get so much access to the White House and Trump and then get a position, I just figured he was rich. I just figured, okay, well, this guy's rich. He's just buying his way in. That's kind of normal. And now it looks like it might have been total fraud. And for MAGA that loves fighting fraud so much, haven't heard anybody cover that one. I guess they don't care about fraud anymore. Now, James O'Keefe has discovered one of the craziest cases of fraud you're ever going to see. This is unreal what the O'Keefe Media Group has done now. Now, the video is almost 20 minutes long. I'm not going to air the whole thing. Here it is on his X account. You can find it. Fraud is the new dope. Part 1. So he's got more videos coming. New York City clerks caught undercover processing EBT cards for drug and alcohol purchases as EBT cash and EBT food. So I think you get the point here. Now, since I kind of know how James O'Keefe works, what I'm assuming is they have a bunch of other videos of this, and he probably had undercover journalists going in there and catching this on tape before he did it himself. You know, James usually waits until he knows it's 100% hit before he goes in there and films himself. So this thing is going to be wild. Part 1. Can't wait to see what else the O'Keefe Media Group has here. Folks, this is huge. I mean, this is so massive. So essentially what they have caught here, at least in New York City, and I would guess it's not just New York City. They have basically this system where you can go in and buy these drugs and crate them and everything else, and they charge it as EBT food. So it's total fraud. So in other words, taxpayer dollars are going towards people's drug habits. And this is already happening, by the way. This is even already happening at a confirmed level in California. Christopher Rufo just put this out. California is giving taxpayer-funded meth pipes to the homeless. We went undercover and got one. Now, this story's been around forever, but it never really gets old. I mean, it's still the same thing. You can go get, they have on the West Coast, government-funded syringes, crack pipes, drugs, drug houses, all of this stuff. Folks, your taxpayer dollars are literally funding people's drug habits. It's outrageous, honestly. And you know, I had a flock story today. I'll kind of just skip it for now. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow. But I'm starting to feel like flock cameras are like our Boston Tea Party. You know, it's like we're so sick of being taxed. We're so sick of being spied on. You pay 33% of your income in taxes, and all you get is another war in the Middle East, and you're funneling money to drug addicts. It's outrageous. Stop taxing me. You're just stealing my money. You're stealing my money and giving it to your donors. You're stealing my money and using it for socialist welfare. I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to pay any taxes to this monster system. I don't want to pay any taxes to this monster government. And they say, oh, well, just go be homeless. Go live in the woods. Oh, fuck you. Okay, cuck. Okay, little bitch. Okay, slave. Excuse me. Pardon my French. In case you can't tell, I don't like taxes. Just in case you couldn't tell. But I feel like flock cameras are like our Boston Tea Party. You know, it's like we don't know. How else do we rebel? How else do we throw the tea in the harbor? We're cutting down flock cameras, I guess. Oh, boy, oh, boy. So I got some stuff on that. I'm not going to do it now, but it's just outrageous, guys. It's something in this country has got to give, man. Something in this country has got to give. It's just outrageous, man. It's just outrageous. And so, you know, it's like, look, I don't really give a damn about the MAGA stuff. They're obsessed with me. People keep sending me, these videos, these shows, this like all these people making fun of me still from, I'm like, dude, it's actually kind of funny. I keep sending me the content. I get a good laugh. It's like, I don't care. If these people are okay being cucks, like, what am I supposed to do? I have no interest. I'm not interested. If you want to be a slave, that's on you. If you want to be a cuck, that's on you. If you have no problem getting lied to by politicians, that's on you. If you have no problem paying 33% of your taxes, that's on you. If you have no problem going into an AI surveillance state, that's on you. Okay? That's on you. I can't relate to that. If that's what you want to be, if that's what you want to support, that's on you. Really don't care otherwise. And so that's what MAG is about now. I'm totally indifferent as to what they think about me. Couldn't care less. If you guys want to be slaves and cucks, that's on you. And I guess you guys are so desperate for content now, you have to find ways to, you know, find content and play my stuff on your shows now. And yet, I'm the one out here actually fighting the good fight. You guys are the ones cucking. So, hey, enjoy it. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the content. And enjoy the ride. And let me know when you guys are actually serious about being patriots and saving the country. I'll be here. I'll be here. We'll be waiting for you. You know, like Anthony Fauci. Oh, I love it. Oh, they're all pissed off about Fauci. Last week, they were all pissed off about the stolen election. Nothing happened. This week, they're all pissed off about Fauci. Nothing happened. These people are just total frauds. They're total cucks. So now Fauci, by the way, this whole thing is probably fake, but you see this in the New York Post. Limelight-loving Fauci all smiles as he is surprised by flowers left by adoring fan after getting savaged by Senate Republicans. Oh, they savaged him, guys. They savaged him so much he went home to smell roses. They savaged him so much he went back home to his millions of dollars. Yeah, savaged. What a pathetic joke if you think Fauci got savaged. Fauci savaged us. Fauci savaged the country. Fauci savaged people's lives, their grandmas, their grandpas. Fauci savaged us. Nobody savaged Fauci. Imagine being such a cuck that you actually are out here like, yeah, we savaged Fauci. Are you a joke? Fauci savaged us, and then he sat there for 3 hours or whatever saying, I plead the fifth, and nothing happened. He won. Fauci won. And trying to convince yourself otherwise is sad. And look, I get it. Oh, Fauci's living in hell. He knows he's hated. He knows he's destroyed his reputation. Really? That's your cope? That's your cope? That's your victory? Good Lord, man. Good Lord, MAGA. You have fallen. Who chopped your balls off, MAGA? Who despined you, MAGA? What happened to you? Fauci savaged the country and got away with it. Now, I'm sitting here looking at this. I'm saying, who set this up? This is obviously fake. You're telling me that Anthony Fauci is totally cool with some random person dropping flowers off at his house, and he's totally cool walking outside to grab those flowers, and somebody just happens to be sitting across the street to take the photo shots as he's out there admiring them? Give me a break. So I don't know who set this up. Somebody set this up. This to me is totally fake. To me, there's 0% chance that Fauci is going out there like this, standing out there and accepting some random gift dropped off at his front door. Sorry, not believing that for 1 second. And I'm not believing that some camera person just happened to be across the street to film it and this wasn't planned. This whole thing was obviously planned. Fauci is rubbing it in your face. Fauci is rubbing it in our face. And I cannot believe the MAGA people that are accepting this and coping with, well, he's miserable anyway. Unbelievable, man. And now there's all these things. Oh, he's going to be maybe held in contempt. And Ron Johnson wants to do an investigation. The Florida Attorney General wants to do an investigation. Oh, yeah. More nothing. More nothing. All right. Let's go to the super chats. I think I'm going to do one more. Well, actually on the Fauci. Let's do the Fauci. These jokes are making their way into the sports media, guys. The NFL training camps are about to begin. Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator making a Fauci joke.
Dick, what's the plan at safety? Is that Marcus's job to lose?
I'm going to be like Fauci and just take the Fifth Amendment on questions. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. What was the question?
Yeah, you had that lined up. Dick,
That's funny. That's funny. Guys, you know, people don't like when I do the sports slop, and I get it. It's not for everybody, and you know, it's okay. I'll take the heat for doing the sports slop. But I think that you need to, and I know I've kind of explained this before, but guys, I'm telling you, there's an opening here. There's an opening. There's an opening in the sports world to kind of maybe build a bridge here with us and professional athletes. I'm telling you, it's there. And if we continue kind of this obstinate attitude about sports, you know, you're never going to be able to tap into that. And you know who is? The left. The left. And you'd love to see people like Sophie Cunningham on the men's side that stand up for values and stand up for anything. But it's like if we approach this with pure negativity and we don't embrace the tradition and the culture and the fun, then we're never going to be able to tap into that for victory. Never. And I'm sorry, it's a losing mentality. The left is going to tap into these institutions for victory any chance they get. And if we just abandon that, that's just accepting a defeat. And I'm not going to do it. So I'm not saying we're going to do like more sports stuff, but I'm just saying it's like, let's just not burn that bridge. Let's try to build that bridge. Let's try to build that bridge. Doesn't mean you have to like it. Doesn't mean you have to watch it. Doesn't mean you have to care about it. But we should be trying to build this bridge. There's an opportunity to build this bridge right now and tap into the professional athletes and kind of get them on our side. But if we're insulting it and insulting the sports and everything else, it's like we're just burning that bridge and the left is going to walk across it unbothered, and it's just not good. It's just not good. So I do anticipate we'll be doing some more sports slop. I mean, it's not going to change the show, but It's just, when I see when I see Vic Fangio of the Eagles making fun of Fauci, I'm like, okay, see, these guys are like us. That's why we need to say, hey, okay, we're like-minded, so let's do some stuff together. Let's not push it away. The left embraces it, and they don't even like sports. The left uses sports to promote their propaganda, and they don't even like sports. They don't play sports. They don't watch sports. Why are we going to let them have that? No, let's take that back. We should be taking sports back from the left. It should really be a goal, actually. That should be a goal of ours, is to reverse all the liberal communist identity politics baiting that the sports world does and turn it back into American patriotism. I'm telling you there's an opening there, guys. I'm telling you there's an opportunity there. But if we just decide to pass on it, then you're never going to get the shot. All right. Super chat time. Here we go. Frankie Rios. Oh, and why are you complaining? I've done more for you than your parents. DJT, friend of the show. Yeah. That Trump actually said that yesterday, guys. He did actually say that. Owen, we want an Owen Stu collaboration. Keep going, Max, bro. I talked to Stu the other day, actually. Cream Phil and Owen has become the new space ghost. Is that a compliment? I hope it's a compliment. I kind of like that, I guess. Space ghost. I am a ghost. It's true. The tannest ghost you ever seen. Webun, Rex, James O'Keefe, Beardson, Int, Fishback. No Owen. Tay. I'm sorry to do this to you today, but actually, I've been in talks with Fishback, and he was supposed to be on the show today. He had a bit of a, well, I'm not going to say. He couldn't do the show today. Something came up. I don't know if it's public or it's not a big deal. But no, James was supposed to be on today. He couldn't make it. He had something come up. So, and I've already interviewed Fishback. So there you go. Fishback was supposed to be on today. Something came up. Couldn't make it. So, it's all right. Just relax. Don't let the cortisol spikes happen. Captain Hard, another day of Republicans fear-mongering about Muslims and communism without doing anything, because if they did, they would have to cut off Israel and its lobby to fix the problem, and that ain't happening. Yes, and then who would the Republicans' boogeyman be? The Republicans need that boogeyman. BB Ping was just at Lindsey Graham's funeral. BB Ping. I don't think I've heard that one from Dust Vault. Don't forget Operation Midnight Trans Fury. Careful now. Nothing more motivating to go out and vote than telling people you can't fight Skynet. Yeah, that'll be a good one for Trump. Who's advising these guys, man? I mean, what a joke. Honestly, I wonder who it is. Who turned Trump off of InfoWars and on to Fox News? I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole with you, but I mean, I'm asking the question for a reason. Who turned Trump off InfoWars and on to Fox News? Okay. If you know, you know, but I'm just wondering who did it. Viva Frey has crossed over to the TP USA dark side. Molly Pearson. Molly, I like Viva. I consider him a friend, and I actually respect Viva even more because we can disagree and debate things and still be rational-headed friends. And it's like, yeah, shake hands. We agree and we shake hands. So I actually respect Viva more, and I think he is a good person. I think he comes at these issues in good faith. So I understand that people kind of have this no tolerance policy when it comes to certain issues or stories or conspiracies. But Viva's one of the good guys. And I don't think it's worth looking at a single issue or story and saying, oh, if he disagrees with me on this, I'm done with him. I certainly understand that, and I certainly understand that with the Kirk assassination. I do. But you have to accept that not everybody is going to agree with you all the time. You have to accept that, and you have to understand that that would be a cult, and you don't want to be in a cult. So people are going to disagree with you, and they're going to have different angles and different questions. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that as long as the person is approaching it in good faith, and as long as the person can debate or disagree, but in a rational, level-headed manner. I like that. I respect that. And Viva has always operated that way. And so I wouldn't say he's gone over to a dark side. I wouldn't say that at all. I'd say he has a different opinion. He has a different viewpoint. He has a different perspective. And he'll not shy away from it. He'll not shy away from a debate. But I don't think that's a fair conclusion to reach just because they disagree with the Kirk assassination thing, that means they've gone to the dark side. You might assume that about some other people that may be a more little stranger how they're behaving, but I don't think that's fair of Viva at all. I will stand for Viva's credibility as a good actor here, as a good faith person in the media. JBNG. Mortgage interest rates being 666 today is an omen enough that we are absolutely cooked. Yeah, I didn't even want to get into the numerology, but it was there. GOP is going to try to convince voters that socialism is worse than PDF protectors. I guess that's your option, right? That's what's on the table, huh? Socialists versus PDF protectors? Yeah. Very good times we're having in this midterm, huh? D-Walk. We have but one flag, one country. Let us stand together with one mind and one mission, liberty. Sounds like something Trump would have said 4 years ago. Tampon Tim 2028. How is that guy? I can't. Don't do it to me. I can't. It's already 6 o'clock here. Don't get me started on Tampon Tim now. Don't do that. Did anyone catch Tucker's monologue last night where he joked and hinted that Fauci took COVID policy orders from Tel Aviv? Somebody sent that to me and they said it was Tucker's best monologue ever. I did not watch or listen to it though, so I can't comment on that. If and when I do, I will let you know. But what did I say yesterday? I said I told you I went places where I hadn't gone in years yesterday for my media consumption. I didn't do my normal routine. Tucker would normally be in my normal routine of media news consumption. But I told you yesterday I switched it up just to see where people were at on the Fauci thing and going to different talk radio shows and other establishment right-wing stuff just to see where they were at with the Fauci response. So I didn't do my normal Tucker Carlson consumption here. But I was told that it was really good. So I'm sure I'll catch it eventually. Iron Lunatic. It's like when William Wallace got betrayed by the other clans in the middle of the battle in Braveheart. The GOP is cooked. Boy, people are really not happy with the Republican Party. And how could you be? Oh, they're not the Democrats. So? That's all you got? Yikes. That sucks. If that's all you got, you are weak. Buy as many influencers as you want. More to make fun of. That is definitely happening. Transgender blobs 2028. Don't even say it. It could happen. Amen. Go Trump. Now you're only down by 5,000. I'm so glad we got Brennan, Clapper, and Comey. Ugh. Odds Trump pardons Maxwell and Diddy. I don't think so. Do we have any? I haven't seen any odds on that. I'm sure there's prediction market odds on that, but I was going to look it up. I don't think he will. I think even that's too far for Trump. I don't know. Maybe it's not up to him. I don't think so. I wouldn't bet on that. JM Dog Patriot, thank you for not being a cuck sellout. There are so many that have. Grateful we have people like you. Thank you. I'm grateful for you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the show. Woofy, just release the unredacted files. It's that simple. Well, every day they don't. They are breaking the law. But they get away with breaking the law, so it's okay. Ivan Monroy. I've been a CDL holder for 16 years, and the Punjabis take advantage of the H-1 visas, and California gives them CDLs. This has to stop. I have more to say, but YouTube is censoring my comments. Great show. Yeah, I was talking about this with the American, the American Truckers Coalition. I forget the name of them, or the Freedom Truckers, maybe. Did a couple interviews with them, good people. And they were addressing this to me 2 years ago, I believe, when I first interviewed them. And now it's just getting worse. And Trump will do a press statement about it and nothing more. Prague snob. Those women are not Epstein survivors. The real victims are dead or still captive in breeding labs. Iran surprise attack. It's war. Yeah, interesting point on the Epstein stuff, though. Wow. What do you think, guys? Kushner's brother is trying to buy an equity stake in the World Cup. I saw that. People connected to the Trumps can't leave their greedy hands to themselves. You know, FIFA has been corrupt for a while, so it's not so surprising from the FIFA angle. But now, yeah, it's like, you know, it's so crazy. It's like these people are addicted to corruption. I've never been corrupt, so I don't really know the draw. It's like I can understand addictive personalities. I can understand that, and maybe to some degree we all have a bit of it. But it's like crazy how they're turning this World Cup into just a giant boondoggle now. And I guess they can do whatever you want when you have 100 Super Bowls in the matter of a month. But yeah, it's just crazy how the Trump family has just, I mean, these people have, the Trump family has like weaseled its way into all this corruption. It's like they're fleecing everything they can for cash right now. It's unbelievable, honestly. It's unbelievable. He really is like the guy in Back to the Future too. What is it? Biff? Biff Trump? You know, I saw your Gnarls Barkley post and totally agree. I owned a record store for 25 years and warned against streaming. They'll do the same to media as they are to rare books. So buy hard copies while you can. True. True. Get your DVDs. Yeah, I do agree with that. For those wondering about Cornelius Westernmost's Gnarls Barkley reference, I said Gnarls Barkley, it was 20 years ago. Gnarls Barkley released the single Crazy collaboration with CeeLo Green. And I said that was the peak. That was the peak of pop music. And it's been on the steady decline ever since. And I think it's totally true. And it's funny now, because really I like all types of music. And you know what, guys? I made a promise. I made a promise earlier this year, and I was actually going to do it today. But I think I'll finally deliver on the promise tomorrow because we're sick of waiting. I'm going to probably just give you the top 10 rock albums of the 2010s. I've been working on this list for so long because I'm so obsessed with just like I want to actually listen to everything I possibly can. It's neurotic of me. But the point is, I like pop music. You go to like the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, you know, there was some really good pop music, and a lot of it has withstood the test of time. There is almost like nothing that is going to withstand the test of time in the last 20 years, like nothing. And I saw some people commenting in the post, and they were like, oh, what about like Blurred Lines and all? I'm like, dude, these songs are trash. Nobody listens to these songs. Nobody. I mean, there's been some good stuff since 2006. Don't get me wrong. But like, as far as like staying power, evergreen power, like, will they be listening in 20 years? There ain't much. There is not much at all in pop music. And I mean, maybe you could point out to a couple artists, but it's like, it's garbage music. And I don't even mind Lady Gaga's music. I mean, some of her music is not bad. It ain't going to last. That's nothing. That's garbage compared to pop music in the 80s. And Lady Gaga's actually really talented. In fact, she did an album with Tony Bennett that's actually really good, but it's not pop music. So what? Are people going to be listening to Olivia Rodrigo in 20 years? I honestly don't even think Taylor Swift has that much staying power. And I'm not a Taylor Swift hater by any stretch. But I don't think her music is going to be that great in 20 years. I don't think many people are going to be playing Taylor Swift, which is kind of all just blobbed into one. And I kind of admire Taylor Swift, honestly. Incredible talent, incredible dedication. But I don't think people are going to be listening to Taylor Swift in 20, 30, 40 years. Sorry. No, don't think so. I don't think Lady Gaga. I don't think Miley Cyrus. I don't, who else? The Jonas Brothers, like nobody's listening to them in the 2030s, 2040s. It just ain't happening. They'll be listening to ABBA. They'll be listening to the Backstreet Boys, NSYNC. Believe it or not, they will. But nothing recently. I mean, it is just, pop music is so bad now. It's almost like it doesn't even exist. It's so bad. If Trump is now the deep state, why would he need pardons? Well, I don't think anything is that easy. And nobody, there's no honor amongst thieves. There's no trust amongst criminals. The Spain invasion is crazy and made me instantly remember recent stories of how Spain is a huge adversary politically to Israel. The timing is crazy. Yeah, well, it's funny enough. There were jokes. I think even Netanyahu made a joke about, when Spain keeps making these anti-Israel statements, and then after every time Spain makes anti-Israel statements, all of a sudden their trains start crashing. Like, it's crazy. People have even put together a timeline. It's like, here was a statement from a Spain prime minister, whatever it is, and then the next day a train crash. And there's like 5 instances. A Spanish diplomat, political representative, whatever, makes an anti-Israel statement. Next day, there's a train crash. And then there's all of these private chats and social media activity that gets posted online, and they're all the Israelis celebrating the Spain train attacks, like winking and nodding, like, oh, we did it. So, I don't know. Very weird. You can't help it. It's like every time you turn around and something happens, somehow there's an Israeli connection there, but then people say you're crazy. But there you go. There's your timing, if you believe it. But that's been happening forever. So I don't know. It's the invasion of Spain has been going on forever. And they don't do anything about it. So I don't know. Those 2 pixels are clearly Tyler's face. Case closed. Oh, duh. I mean, geez. The whole CK thing is falling apart. The VHS 1987 clips they have shown are so insane, I can't believe anyone believes it. Well, again, you have to understand the emotional psychology. It's a real thing. It will deceive you. Your emotions can deceive you. And you're talking about the loss of a loved one. A lot of things happen with that. A lot of psychological trauma and stuff can make you deceive yourself. It's just true. It's just true. I'm not excuse making here. That's just the truth. Government, they're either running their own country or someone else's. Is there really no middle here? Well, there's about to be no middle class. Tell you that. It's so obvious they are paid shills. That's Jam Dog's follow-up from before. A big donation from Pakistan American for Liberation today. Thanks to Trump and war criminal Israel, this is the quote we are hearing. The U.S. used to be a beacon of human rights, not anymore. Today it stands alongside North Korea, Nicaragua, Mali, and Russia. Isolated, and the world no longer listens to it. French permanent mission. Well, I've been saying something similar, and it's hard to really comprehend. It's like, how do you even put a rigid figure to this, right? But there's signs, there's clues. It's kind of like whispers in the wind. The whole international community, the whole geopolitical dynamic of Trump bringing America back to its status and being that world leader, now Trump has completely destroyed it. Now nobody trusts us. And now whatever moral high ground, political high ground, all the things that we once had in the international community, Trump has now spoiled all of it. Now people look at America under Trump and they don't trust it and they don't want to do business with it. And they don't even want to be honest with Trump anymore. I mean, it's that bad, guys. Whatever. People are still in denial of how bad it is with Trump, but that's fine. I mean, I guess eventually everybody will figure out. Or Q is real, and then you guys can, have the last laugh and rub it in my face, and I'll be great, because that's exactly what I wanted, is we'll drain the swamp and save the country, so everybody wins. But if that doesn't happen, what are you going to do? Erica Kirk forgives Bigfoot. Thank goodness. We all need, we all owe Bigfoot an apology. Very misunderstood mythical creature. How many times have we been right? JFK, COVID, 9/11, the list goes on and on. I don't know, just like every time? You guys remember, some of you probably remember. I don't know what ended up happening to this woman, but It's like all these people that nitpick me every day and like bite at my heels, like all these MAGA cult members, I just mute them because I just can't deal with it. Like, I don't want to see it. It's just a distraction. I really don't care. Make fun of my hair, make fun of my garage studio, like whatever, call me a liberal. It's like, I don't care. You're just annoying me. You're just like a gnat in my ear. So I just mute all these people. So I don't know. It's like the people that base their content, like making fun of me, I don't see it anymore because it's just a distraction. And I really don't care. If anything, I kind of like it. I kind of think it's funny. But what was the woman's name that did the Kamala Harris impressions? And she was good at it. She was really good at it. I forget her name, though. So she had like a year run. It's probably less than that. But she had like a year run where she was really getting viral content because she did a really good Kamala Harris impersonation. So, you know, it's like all these people that kind of made a little hay in the MAGA world. Like, oh, I do a Trump impersonation. I really don't know anything about anything, but I do a good Trump impersonation. So I'm in the media now. And so it was the same thing with this woman. And you guys remember, it's like Esti Patel or something like that, or Eski Pryal or something like that. And she said, oh, Owen, you're more obsessed with being right than supporting Trump. Wow. You got me. I as a journalist, I as a reporter, I as a talk show host, I as a political commentator and pundit and a broadcaster, I would rather be right than blindly support a politician. Wow, you caught me. Wow, I'm caught red-handed. I keep being right about everything. Oh my gosh, what an insult. Wow. Now tell me how your cult is going. Exactly the same reason why billions of dollars should be invested in all public and private schools and colleges to have better security cameras. No one can make call if that shooter was he or she or what. Oh, I'm surprised they're not using that angle. We couldn't see Charlie Kirk shooter on the roof. We need more flock cameras and we need 4K. Don't give them any ideas. Wooded Bagley. Who has more grip strength, Lance Twiggs or Andrew Wilson? Well, I'll tell you what, they both have one thing in common. They can both go to the grocery store right now and buy a pickle jar. So Lance Twiggs has, I guess he's not going to be implicated in any of this at all. You kind of got me with that one. Good Lord. Oh, smells like crap, looks like crap, must be crap. You're not enjoying your MAGA show? You're not enjoying your MAGA shit show? Weaveland, CEOs make great wrestling clowns. Less makeup, but same face. Go metrics, go Trump. Signed, Sarcasium. It is all WWE at this point. Uh-oh. Jim Cramer said it's a good time to buy stocks. Sell, sell, sell. Hey, I told you. What did I tell you a couple months ago, guys? I said, you know, make your strategic decisions. If there's some stuff you want to hold, whatever. But get out of the stock market. Get out. Don't play around. Don't try to day trade. Don't try to swing trade. Get out. If you want to hold some things strategically, I'm holding some things strategically. I'm actually thinking about selling everything because I think the whole thing could crash now. I didn't think it would get that bad. I mean, I knew it would go down, but eventually go back up. The whole thing could crash now. I mean, the only thing I'm holding right now is some nuclear, some quantum, some tech stuff, and then Tesla and SpaceX. And I mostly hold Tesla and SpaceX just because I believe in the companies at this point. I just think they're going to be massively successful, and Musk has a track record. So it's like, 10, 20, 30 years, I think those will probably be huge. I mean, eventually it'll come back. But no, I'd say if you're trying to swing trade, if you're trying to day trade, or if you think you're going to get a boost out of the market in the short term, I wouldn't count on that. I feel like it could happen. I feel like it could crash any day now, honestly. The only thing I think holding it back is the fact that, Trump and his friends and family are making so much damn money. They're making so much damn money on this rigged stock market and insider trading. I mean, if you want to put it into perspective, how much money are they making? Trump is charging $100,000 a month for insider trading information. And what they're claiming is you're going to get, so they have this list, like if if Trump says something or Jensen Huang says something, and by the way, didn't I tell you this a year ago? So anyway, so now they figured it out. It's like everybody figured it out. If you just follow the right accounts, follow who's coming in and out of the White House, you can beat the market and you can do well as a swing trader and a day trader. So they figured this out and they said, we need to be selling this information. So they're telling you, they're going to tell you what somebody's going to say before he says it. They're going to tell you what Trump's about to say. They're going to tell you what all these different tech CEOs are going to say. They're going to tell you about mergers and all of this stuff. And they're going to tell you that before the public, and they're going to charge $100,000 a month for it. Do you want to know how much money Trump and his friends are making on the stock market? That it's worth paying $100,000 a month for insider information. That's how much money they're making. So to me, that's the only thing holding the stock market up, is that all the corruption in DC and this administration, these guys are making so much money on the stock market. These guys are probably making millions of dollars a month on the stock market, rigging it with pumps and dumps and the insider trading information. I bet they're making millions a month. So I think that's the only thing keeping it up. And eventually there's going to be such an exodus that they'll probably just decide, okay, now we're going to tank the market, and it could drop, I don't know, 30s, 20s, and then they can buy it back up for pennies on the dollar and make billions. So it's all rigged. If you want to play the game, but just know it's rigged. I'm enjoying your 5 o'clock shadow. Oh, thank you, Farm Girl. Regarding the CDL illegals, I've met Ukrainians who left because of the war and became truck drivers here. They maneuver trucks like I've never seen before. I'm okay with them. Sounds reasonable enough. PFF, you're one of the realest, Mr. Schroyer. God bless you. Thanks for the show. Thank you. Thank you for being here and continuing to support. Jim Cramer said it's a great time to buy stocks. We got 2 today. Space Friend now. My money's on a Greater Depression. Oh, for sure. You do the opposite of Jim Cramer, you're looking good. Owen's about to say wiener. Was that the grip strength one, Mark? I don't even want to know. I can't. Europe has been so cucked. Their ancestors would all be disgusted. Yeah, well, so would ours, Jonah. Yeah, I'd say so would ours. Can we please get Roger Stone on again? A-Rod Blends. A request for Roger Stone. Okay. They're called maggots for a reason, Owen. Arcane Electric. Fishback rally tonight. Talking tacos. Fowler, Tampa. Are you a fan of Tool? Have you seen them live? Yeah. I don't understand anybody that's not a fan of Tool. How many times have I seen Tool? I want to say 3 times. I think I've seen Tool 3 times. Awesome. Tool is one of those bands that just like there's nothing else like it. Nothing. It's like you have bands that have a sound and okay, you hear it, you're like, oh, I know who that is because they have such a unique sound. It's like their talent is so transcending that you can just hear it and know who it is. But Tool is like that, plus nobody can even do what Tool does. Arguably the greatest, maybe the greatest metal band of all time. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's not such a bold statement. And they do have the best drummer in the world now. And they've totally leaned into Danny Carey now at their shows. And Danny is now at the center of the show. So Danny is at the center of the stage. All the lights are on Danny. He's got his 5,000-piece kit. The guy's unreal. Danny Carey is like, I don't even know if he's human. Olivia Rodrigo, Filipina. Look her up, not Latina. So what? So now I'm supposed to like her because of this? Stop it. Stop it. Not happening here. All right. That's going to do it for today. Man, we still didn't get to the Savage stuff. And Savage commented on me the other day. Or I guess it was yesterday or today. I'm playing this one a little conservatively, guys, because, you know, it's weird. It's weird. You know, you meet the people, you meet your heroes, as they say, or, you know, you meet your inspirations. I've been lucky enough to actually work for a couple of them. So not just meet them, I've been able to work for a couple of them. And, you know, I can tell Savage is like, I know I'm going to piss him off. I know it. I know I'm going to piss him off and I'm going to get him all hot and bothered. And I just don't want to do it. You know, I'm always going to love Michael Savage. And I don't even care. I don't disagree with him, whatever. It's fine with me. I can just tell, like, he's already going to be pissed. So I'm kind of playing it conservative. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Maybe I'll finally do the Boomer stuff tomorrow. But you know what? I think I can balance it out because I think I can probably, you know, say something that would anger Michael and maybe get a good rant out of him. But then I'll insult Sean Hannity and that'll kind of balance it out. It's like if I insult Sean Hannity, then he'll be like, okay, you know what? I disagreed. Maybe I'm a dumbass to him. But he'll be like, oh, he attacked Hannity. He attacked Sean Hannity. That'll kind of balance it out. And then I've got some other secret weapons to maybe win Michael's favor. Maybe I can win Michael's favor, even though he's going to really disagree with me, probably to an angry extent on a couple of things. But I think I have the trick to at least balance it out and maybe turn it into a positive. But there is a new awareness. So we may have to, we'll see. We'll see if we'll do that tomorrow. On a Friday. That does it, guys. 20.5-hour break. We'll do it same time, same channel tomorrow. God bless and Godspeed.
Fucking up this whole country. The farms of Ohio.